has struck the NFL. The playoff stage is set by a season no one could have forecast.
And it is picked off down the right sideline. Touchdown, Baltimore.
Power has shifted and myths have become reality. New heroes have emerged from the shadows. Record books were rewritten with magic moments now frozen in time. The promise of greatness turned into illusion, while others made theirs a reality. Miracles materialized before our eyes.
He did what? It never hit the ground. Touchdown!
Legends said their last goodbyes. Fate has spoken. Battle lines have been drawn. And warriors are poised to take their place in history. Destiny lies in the playoff cards. It begins today on Wild Card Saturday. No snow in Pro Player Stadium, just wild cards. We get started with the AFC's champion Dolphins getting set to host their divisional rival Colts. Our second game, no snow indoors at the Superdome in New Orleans. A rivalry just born, the NFC West champion Saints against the defending Super Bowl champion St. Louis Rams on the New York Stock Exchange Wild Card pregame show. Welcome to the frozen tundra of Times Square in New York. Well, that's our home, and what a perfect start for the playoffs. The weather outside kind of sums up the season that we had. Wild indeed. Hi, everybody. Happy holidays. I'm Chris Berman along with Steve Young, the former league MVP, the former Super Bowl MVP, the former quarterback of the night. It hurts to say that.
I don't want to hear it anymore.
Playoff, what do we expect? What a wild season.
Yeah, you know, none of the usual suspects. I think no one's taken a grip on this league. And you go into the playoffs, and would it surprise anyone that the top two seeds, the Giants and the Titans, would not be in Tampa for the Super Bowl? And it was Mike Holmgren, not Yogi Berra, that used to say, whoever you are, you're going to be more like yourself in the playoffs because of the pressure. And that doesn't bode well for about half the teams in the playoffs because they're not scoring many points. And in a league that's scoring a lot of points, you're going to need that. And so there are some that are, but a lot of them aren't. And I think that's going to be trouble.
We got some teams that can score points. I've never seen Mike and Yogi together at the same time. Me neither. As we start the playoffs, many perceive the last to be first. Six-seeded St. Louis and Indianapolis were the preseason Super Bowl picks of many. Other than Brett Favre, who would you rather have quarterback your team this season than Kurt Warner or Peyton Manning? Maybe like Marshall Faulk to run the ball. He set a record with 26 touchdowns. Maybe Edgerrin James to run the ball. He just won his second rushing title. Yet, there'll be no playoff home games for the Rams and Colts. Both find themselves on the road today at the teams that dislodged them as division champs, the New Orleans Saints and the Miami Dolphins. First things first, the 10-6 Colts just won in Miami 2 weeks ago, 20-13. Yet, the 11-5 Dolphins won their first AFC East since '94 when a guy named Don Shula was the coach. Dave Wanstadt's team has done it with defense, turnovers, good running, and clutch quarterback play from Jay Fiedler. Steady won the race for these Dolphins. Can they stay that way against the flashy Colts, who won their last 3 games just to get in the playoffs? To South Florida we go. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire. Guys?
Thanks, Chris. We're getting ready for the first round of the playoffs. The Colts and the Dolphins from Pro Player Stadium. The Colts enter the postseason with a 3-game winning streak and perhaps as much offensive firepower as anyone in the playoffs. Joe Theismann and Paul McGuire take a look at their trigger man, third-year pro Peyton Manning.
And, Michael, not since Dan Marino have we seen a quarterback this young, this good, this soon. And in his first 3 years, Peyton Manning has thrown for over 12,000 yards. Not even Dan Marino did that, Joe. And the biggest advantage in this football game is the matchup. Peyton Manning over Jay Fiedler.
Well, you know what I've been impressed with about Peyton Manning is the way he's changed his game late in the season. He doesn't force the ball down the field as much to Marvin Harrison as he did earlier in the year. What he's doing now is he's taking his time, sitting in the pocket, looking and looking, and then just dumping it off, letting Edgerrin James make plays for him with his legs. That's one of the big differences that I've seen him make. Also, he realizes that the last 3 weeks, this team has been in a playoff mode. He's taken his game to another level. He's going to have to do it again today, Mike, because the playoffs are here.
Guys, remember one thing. Manning faces a defense that led the NFL with 28 picks. Chris, we'll see you at the bottom of the hour.
All right, Michael, we look forward to your call. Well, the triplets of the Colts, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James, who 2 years in the league has won 2 rushing titles. The only other 2 guys to do that are both in the Hall of Fame, Earl Campbell and Eric Dickerson. Colts, a very, very dangerous offensive team.
Yeah, no question. The Dolphins got to wonder if this isn't Halloween, not New Year's. I mean, Wes Craven wrote this scenario because you think about the last 10 years, Super Bowl champion, the elements of those teams have been an all-star quarterback, a bulletproof offense, and an underrated stingy defense. Well, the Colts, the last 3 weeks in their unofficial playoffs started, have been all of those.
We shouldn't forget that Miami beat the Colts in Indy this year. Turnover started the drive. Brock Murray made an interception, and then they drove up the field behind Damon Heward. So turnovers against the Colts, can Miami count on that today?
Yeah, I think so. They've got the best defense in the AFC, one of the best defenses in the AFC. They've held the passer rating the best in the 57.5. They've got 28 interceptions leading the AFC. I think that's their best hope for beating Peyton Manning today, is to create some turnovers early, get Peyton out of his game, and then hopefully keep Murray off the field and just kicking extra points.
Except for extra points, right. Well, we'll have more on some of the big players in this first game, but our second game today is a rivalry from Steve's old division, a rivalry that never was until this year. The Cinderella Saints rose from 3-13 to 10-6, much as the Cinderella Rams did it the year before. The Rams just won in New Orleans last Sunday, 26-21, to get in, but the Saints won at St. Louis just 5 weeks ago, 31-24. So here's another rubber game. Now, the greatest show on earth, the Rams, scored 540 points this year. That's the third highest total in the history of the NFL, higher than their total last year when they won the Super Bowl, when they scored 526 points. Every time I talk to you about the Rams, I look at you. You're just jealous. You're just jealous.
There's no question. As a quarterback, you think about the elements of the Rams offense. They have the best offensive line in the league, a bevy of receivers, an all-pro MVP running back, an all-pro MVP quarterback. The only things that are holding the Rams back are two things, I think. Kurt Warner in a shortened season, too many interceptions, 18, and then really a talented defense that have been embarrassingly underachieving. And I think that they have created as much debt for the Rams as possible, and it's time to now repay that offense in the playoffs. If they can start doing that and playing at least up to par, they can run the table. If they don't, they'll be out early.
Well, they got second life. They weren't even sure they were going to be in, and here they are. That's our late game, Rams at Saints. More on Dolphins hosting the Colts on Wild Card Saturday in a moment.
Coming up on the New York Stock Exchange Wild Card pregame show.
There's a lot of talk about Dan Marino that has been since I've gotten here, since I signed, and all that's great, and he deserves all the credit that he's gotten throughout his career. But he wasn't here this year.
Stock Exchange Wild Card pregame show on ABC Sports, brought to you by the New York Stock Exchange. The world puts its stock in us.
Well, in a lot of the country, a perfect day to hunker down and watch some football. Glad you're doing it with us here on ABC. The Miami Dolphins replaced Dan Marino with who? Jay Fiedler. All he did was win the AFC East. And today, the young man from Dartmouth becomes just the third Ivy Leaguer to start a postseason game at quarterback, joining fellow Big Greener Jeff Kemp for the Rams in '84 and Hall of Famer Sid Luckman many times for the Bears in the '40s. As our Lynn Swan reports, it doesn't matter where you come from. Fiedler has taken Miami to the roof.
I didn't know what kind of path it would take. I just knew as long as I stuck around long enough, eventually, things would open up.
Jay Fiedler's story is one of endurance. The brainy quarterback who rewrote nearly every passing record at Dartmouth, graduated with an engineering degree only to wander the NFL sidelines and then play one season in Europe. By age 24, he was an unpaid assistant coach at Division I AA Hofstra University, unable to get anyone's attention.
I think when he was coaching at Hofstra, he still said, boy, I'm going to get back in the league. Somebody's going to pick me up, something's going to happen. And now you're out, a year and a half, you start thinking to yourself, boy, I better get back in now or it is going to be over.
It came pretty close to ending. After being out of the league for 2 years, I loved the game and wanted to give it every opportunity and wanted to push this dream to the limit.
He had told me that, Dad, I've seen these guys play and I see what they do. I could do as well, or maybe even better. And that's why he really kept up, the dream and so on, but it was a tough road.
Fiedler eventually returned to the NFL in a backup position at Minnesota and Jacksonville. Continuing his journey south, Jay earned his first starting assignment this fall. With it came the unenviable task of replacing Dolphin legend Dan Marino.
He deserves all the credit that he's gotten throughout his career, but he wasn't here this year. And this is a different team. This is new guys around here, and the whole team looked at it that way. And we knew we had different guys that we needed to rely on all year long.
Does Jay Fiedler have a sense of urgency that he has to make this happen and has to make it happen now?
I think I always have that sense of urgency. It's a tough game. If you don't have a sense of urgency to go out there and compete and be successful right now, then you ought to be playing tiddlywinks or something.
I knew he could be a starting quarterback. It's just a matter of giving it a shot. As I told somebody, I'm just surprised it took the NFL this long.
For Jay Fiedler in this offense, there has to be an even higher sense of urgency. This is an opportunity that no one thought Miami would have with a new coach, system, and quarterback. And Dan Marino will be quick to tell Jay to take advantage of this opportunity because the playoffs are never guaranteed.
Swanee, do you think Steve's had a little experience replacing a legend?
He might have, a little
advice for so far so good for Fiedler?
Yeah, but I think legends cast a huge shadow, of course, and the way to get out of that shadow is to have great playoff runs. From experience, I had some great regular seasons, but nothing ever got me away from that huge shadow until I made the emotional attachment with the fans in the playoffs. That's the chance that Jay Fiedler has right now.
And the playoffs give you staying power. If he wins here, he has a longer future in Miami.
Agreed.
First time since '82 that Dan Marino's not been the regular quarterback of the Dolphins. Swanee, good to see it. This is the year, okay?
I got them crossed.
This is the year.
You got my vote.
Happy holidays. More on the Dolphins and the Colts when we return in a moment.
Coming up on the New York Stock Exchange Wild Card pregame show.
I realized at an early age that I was a special athlete. Not only a gifted athlete on the field, but in the locker room.
Limp Bizkit, but there's no way they could be named after Cornelius Bennett. Still going strong in his 14th season. In 1987, drafted by the Colts, he held out and never played for him, being traded to Buffalo, where he starred on 4 Super Bowl teams. After another unsuccessful Super Bowl crack in Atlanta, life has gone full circle. He's been a Colt for 2 years. Leslie Goodell tells us maybe a 6th trip could be Bizkit's ticket.
I realized at an early age that I was a special athlete. Not only a gifted athlete on the field, but in the locker rooms. And I try to put my 2 cents in wherever I can. I try to be there for guys, even when I was younger. I was there for them, and the guys, they respond when I say something.
Right now, let's go, defense on 3.
So they believe in me.
He tell you everything. Even if you don't want to hear it, he's going to tell you the good with the bad.
He's seen a lot of things in this league, been through a lot of situations, been to Super Bowls, seen the good and the bad, and I think when he talks to the team, they really listen to him and take what he says to heart.
Who would you say on your team you've had the greatest impact on?
Probably Edrin. I embraced him from day one that I met him, and when he was holding out, he would call me at 11:30 at night. I'm trying to get some sleep, trying to talk about his negotiations, but he listens to me. He knows I've been there, and he knows I wouldn't tell him anything wrong.
At the end of last season, Bennett suffered ligament damage in his knee. He was forced to watch from the sidelines as the Colts lost to the Titans in the second round of the playoffs.
Being such a big part of the team last year, and guys had learned to depend on me being there, and some of those guys they probably wouldn't admit it. They were fearful, when I wasn't out there. I was like, in a sense, a father figure to a lot of the guys on the team. So, that security blanket wasn't there.
Even though the Colts lost, there was still team unity, an element that was lacking on Bennett's early Buffalo teams.
We were totally different. We had guys from every walk of life on that football team. Guys almost fighting in that locker room here. We were very close last year. We just were a couple of players away.
5 Super Bowls, no rings. Some people would say that's a disappointment. Some would say, wow, that's quite an accomplishment. What do you say about it?
It's both of them. I look at it both ways. My ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, and I still have a chance. I'm in the playoffs this year, so the chance is still there.
And if it's not this year, it could be next year or the year after. He said he doesn't plan on quitting anytime soon. He is frustrated about his limited role he played this year, pulled on third down situations. He said he fought it in his own head, but he kept quiet about it because he knows he has a leadership role to play on this team. That means whether he's on the field or on the sidelines.
Bizkit was always so quiet in his days in Buffalo. It's nice of him to remind us that he was, in his day, one of the best linebackers to play the game. Bizkit's hoping that Peyton Manning, who led all quarterbacks in passing this year, another 4,000-yard season for him. Bizkit hoping Peyton Manning can keep a Super Bowl dream alive.
The New York Stock Exchange Wild Card pregame show on ABC Sports, brought to you by the New York Stock Exchange. The world puts its stock in us.
Well, this could be a factor tomorrow in the games in Philly and in Baltimore. Right now, it's a factor outside, but not for our games today at Miami and indoors in New Orleans. Let's go to this first game, Steve. For Indy to win, 2 weeks ago, they led the Dolphins 17-3 at half, pretty much taking Miami out of their game and passing shorter than I think Miami expected them. Just get a lead and take Miami to what they want to do?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot about the offense, but I think more so the defense. I knew that we were going to go deep in the playoffs with the 49ers when we were playing our best football in December. The Colt defense has been doing that the last 3 weeks. Not a 100-yard rusher, only 26% allowance on third down, and 14 sacks. If they continue that kind of play, I think no matter what Peyton Manning can do, I think if defense plays that well, they'll be fine.
Miami this year gave up 14 and 20 in the 2 games to the Colts, a team that scored over 400 points, so that's outstanding. If they do that today, they got to like their chances if they run well.
Right, they're going to run the ball well, but they have to score touchdowns. They're relying on Lindo Mare too much, and he comes in field goals. I don't think field goals will win this game. I think they've got to score at least 3 touchdowns. I think Jay Fiedler will play action pass, run the football down inside the 20, but today look for inside the 20, can they push it over the goal line? That'll be really key. And then remember, it's going to be a tight game. The last 4 games decided by 7 points or less, and 3 of those 4, the winning score came after the 2-minute warning. It's going to be tight.
Divisional rivals, there's no mysteries here. No mysteries
no, everybody
here.
knows each other.
Both games.
I know you know me, you know you. It goes around in a circle.
The Miami Dolphins at home against the Colts. We will see you later with the Lexus halftime show. Colts at Dolphins after this message and a word from our ABC sponsor, Jay Fiedler. Can he conduct a Miami Pops?
The NFL playoffs.
You have to turn everything up another notch. What you think you did good during the regular season, you have to do better during the playoffs.
I mean, really what you've done to this point means nothing now. We're all in the playoffs. So you've got to go out and earn it every play.
If you're playing really good football in the month of January, then you have a chance to keep advancing. That's all we wanted was a chance.
At 7-6, the Colts seemingly had no chance, but bucked the odds and clawed their way in. For 3 straight games, they staved off elimination and beat Miami just 2 weeks ago.
That they came down here to our backyard and they beat us. I like that. That's good, because we're not going to take anything for granted.
We can't just rest on that last win down there. We have to remember what we did and have to do it better than we did the last time.
This is where mistakes are magnified, big plays mean more. Everything is larger than life.
I just think in a playoff game that you need to make special plays. You need to make a great catch. You need to make a great throw.
You play, you work all year long just to have a chance to be in a game like this. 30 teams will fail this year. This gives you an opportunity to go out and do what everybody wants to do, which is win a championship.
The quest begins.
The NFL's second season begins today in Miami, Florida. And 20 miles north of the city, Pro Players Stadium, where a crowd of 70,000 is here to watch their Dolphins battle the Indianapolis Colts in an ABC AFC Wild Card playoff. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. The Colts have been in a playoff mode for the last 3 weeks, winning back-to-back-to-back must-win games. They come into the playoffs as hot as anyone. Down here in Miami, Dave Wanstead has done what Jimmy Johnson could not do, win the AFC East and finish at 11-5. This will be the 3rd time in the last 35 days that these teams have faced each other. Paul and Joe, they split the first 2. What about the 3rd?
Mike, the money matchup in this game today is the Colts offense against the Dolphin defense, because that's where the Pro Bowlers are, and that's where this game is going to be determined. Peyton Manning led the league in passing. Edgerrin James led the league in rushing. Marvin Harrison led the league in catches. If they just play their routine game, goodbye, Miami.
Well, Paul, this is not a game of 3-on-3. It's a game of 11-on-11. As a matter of fact, Dave Wanstead has said he feels like his 11 on defense are better than the Colts' 11 on offense. They realize they have to limit the big plays, but they've got guys that can do that. Jason Taylor, Trace Armstrong, 31 sacks between the 2 of them. Sam Madison, 5 interceptions. Mike, turnovers are a big part of any game, especially in the playoffs. And if Miami doesn't win this turnover battle, they're not going to win this football game.
Thanks, guys. Super Bowl 35 is the destination. The journey begins today.
FedEx presents the air attack and ground attack numbers for today's matchup between the Dolphins and the Colts. Today's game can be heard using the SAP feature on your TV where available, presented by Lexus.
The legendary Don Shula will be the Dolphins' honorary captain for today's game. He coached both the Dolphins and the Colts to the Super Bowl. Our Solomon Wilcots is with Miami's current head coach, Dave Wannstedt.
Thanks, Mike and Dave. 2 weeks ago against the Colts, Jay Fiedler was sacked 4 times, and he played with a torn rotator cuff in his left shoulder. How healthy is Jay Fiedler, and how effective can he be today?
Well, last time we played Indianapolis, it was the week he was coming off it. He was trying to get used to the harness and everything. He's a lot better today. He's obviously not 100%, but I think last week's win and his good performance in New England will help.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, the NFL's second season is where you play for keeps. You either step up the intensity level, or you could consider yourself to be one and done.
The NFL playoffs.
You have to know that the tempo is different. You have to know that this is a different type of football.
I think the fact that we've been playing those must-win games the past 3 weeks, I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're getting into.
The quest begins. Of the National Football League.
Unusually cold in the Miami area, 57 degrees. The wind will be a factor at 12 miles an hour. The forecast, mostly cloudy weather all day. Let's go back to Solomon Wilcott. Solly.
Yeah, Mike, as you look at the field, the wind is blowing very hard from your right to your left. But if you look at the flags blowing at the top of the stadium, it's blowing the other way. It's sort of swirling down here on the field. Watching the kickers warm up before the game, as they were punting, the balls would just die in midair. If they were kicking with the wind, well, of course, the ball would continue to sail. It's going to be a challenge for these kickers today.
All right, Solomon, and field position will certainly play a factor in this game, and that is the Dolphins' game. Field position. Olindo Mate will kick it off. He'll be kicking with the wind, and Terrence Wilkins is the deep man for the Indianapolis Colts. This game is blacked out in the Miami area, not sold out in time, but there are only a handful of empty seats right now, and the playoffs are underway, and Murray rushes one. Here are the Colts starting backs and receivers.
Peyton Manning, quarterback, University of Tennessee.
Edgerrin James, every down back, University of Miami. Marvin Harrison, wide receiver, Syracuse University.
Jerome Payton, wide receiver, University of Washington.
Marcus Pollard, tight end, Bradley University.
Ken Dilger, tight end, University of Illinois.
The Colts will start 1st and 10 from their own 20. Peyton Manning, 4,413 yards passing. He led the National Football League. Manning to throw on 1st down. Complete for a gain of only 1. Here's the Colts offensive line.
Glenn, offensive tackle, University of California at Berkeley.
Steve McKinney, left guard, Texas A&M University. Larry Moore, offensive guard, Brigham Young University.
Adam Meadows, offensive tackle, University of Georgia.
Jeff Saturday, center, University of North Carolina.
So the Colts complete their first pass, but only for a yard to Dilger, the tight end. Edgerrin James takes it out to the 28-yard line, too shy of a 1st down. Brock Marion with the tackle.
You want to take advantage of the fact that Miami wants to bring their ends up the field. So when you do that, you can kick them out and allow Edgerrin James to come underneath. Dilger comes across. He traps Jason Taylor, which allows James to turn upfield. Look at the job by Pathon. These receivers may not be big of the Colts, but they'll mix it up with him.
Edgerrin James with his 2nd consecutive rushing title. 3rd and 2 Colts. Blitz coming. Incomplete, knocked down by Madison. Intended for Terrence Wilkins.
But, you know, this guy, Sam Madison, is just an outstanding corner. I mean, he really plays the ball. He said he will not look at Peyton Manning's eyes. Watch him play Wilkins. He plays him perfectly. Now the ball comes, and he just reaches in. Just perfect timing.
It's another Pro Bowler for that Miami defense. Hunter Smith to kick it away. Jeff Ogden is back with O.J. McDuffie. Short kick into the wind. Ogden to the 47. 34-yard kick, 10-yard return. There's a marker down, and it will be a hold against Miami.
Holding, receiving team, number 23, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jeff Triplett makes the call. Let's look at Miami's starting backs and receivers.
Jay Fiedler, quarterback from Dartmouth College.
Lamar Smith, running back, University of Houston.
Rob Conrad, fullback, Syracuse University.
Tony Martin, wide receiver, Mason State.
Oronda Gadsden, wide receiver, Winston-Salem State University. Hunter Goodwin, tight end, Texas A&M University.
Because of the wind, it could be a game of field position. The Dolphins have already squandered some great field position with that penalty. Jay Fiedler, 14 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions. Except for a couple of bad games, his numbers would be much better than that. Fiedler first down to Martin to the 39.
Tony Martin, number 80, up against Mustafa Muhammad. Now, everybody expects the Dolphins to come out and run Lamar Smith. Why not? That's what they do very well. I would look for him to take a different approach, just the way they started this game. Throw the ball a bit, loosen up that Colt defense, then start to pound them.
And right now they've got J.J. Johnson as the up back in front of Lamar Smith. Smith on the toss. Big hole up the middle to the Colts 43.
Well, they had Muhammad, who was a corner. They had him on a blitz, and he's just trying to avoid the blocker instead of going right at Lamar Smith. On the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see it. He goes around the blocker, and that enabled Smith to get up the middle of the field.
From the ump cam, look at the hole that he has to run through. Goes flying by the umpire, and the Colts couldn't catch up to him.
Ripped off a 17-yard game, and here he goes again down to the 34. Here's Miami's offensive line.
Christian Webb, offensive tackle, Texas A&M University.
Todd Wade, offensive tackle, Ole Miss.
Mark Dixon, offensive guard, University of Virginia.
Kevin Donnelly, guard, the University of North Carolina.
Tim Ruddy, center, University of Notre Dame.
Miami moving the ball very well on its opening possession. 2nd and a yard from the 34. Fiedler to throw. Can't find anybody, and they'll sack him back at the 40-yard line. Good pass rush by Bernard Whittington and Ellis Johnson, the tackles.
Well, when you look at Jay Fiedler, he runs a little play action, and he wants to go down the field, but just take a look at the coverage. There's absolutely no one to throw the ball to. Everybody is covered. Here it comes again. There's Muhammad again on Gadsden, and here comes Whittingham on a sack. You're just, when you hold the ball that long, you're going to get hit.
Yeah, but it's a good decision because he doesn't want to make a mistake. He's willing to take the sacks and protect the ball.
3rd and 6. Fiedler to Denson, and that's a forward pass, incomplete.
Now keep in mind, he doesn't have to throw the ball overhand towards the line of scrimmage. Even a shovel pass like this one is considered a forward pass and an incompletion.
The interesting thing, talking to Trenius Bennett yesterday, is he was saying that we want to shut down a run and force them to pass, them being Miami. Well,
how about
first play.
How about this 4th down? 4th down and 6. And Dave Wannstedt has said, I'm willing to take chances. I think he believes with the wind at his back and as good as his defense is, he's willing to take that chance now.
Mate could have tried what would have been a 56-yard field goal. Instead, they go for it on 4th down. Blitz coming. Fiedler with time. Knocked away, incomplete. Peterson with great coverage downfield on McDuffie.
Boy, that's just a linebacker. Peterson, number 52, looking at the quarterback and watching his eyes.
Neither team could score on its opening possession. Back in a moment. Trying to get out of the record book. Among the 63 head coaches in history with at least 4 postseason games, he's the only one that doesn't have a victory.
Well, he was not hesitant about talking about it. He said, 2 of those, I lost the game.
And then you look at the other guys that he's joined the company of. Both of them are Hall of Famers. I don't think he wants to get in the Hall of Fame that way.
Colts will start from their own 39. Manning into the wind. Complete to Pathan down at the 36-yard line. 25 yards on the throw. Brian Walker made the tackle.
The way you attack a 2-deep coverage with the corners up and the safeties back is you work behind the corners. Pathan puts pressure, holds the safety inside. Walker can't get to the outside, and Manning's arm is so strong, he can muscle the ball into the wind.
1st and 10 from the 36. James was the single setback. 2 tight ends, and Edger and James trying to get to the corner. Surtain did a nice job on the outside. Here's Miami's defensive front 7.
To the next one, defensive end, like Louisiana State. Jason Taylor, defensive end, the infamous University of Akron.
Tim Bowens, defensive tackle, University of Mississippi.
Daryl Gardner, defensive lineman, Baylor University.
Derek Rogers, outside linebacker, Arizona State.
Robert Jones, linebacker, East Carolina. Hi, I'm Zach Thomas, linebacker, Texas Tech.
Infamous Akron.
2nd and 9. Manning appears to be changing the play. Sometimes that's a decoy. Blitz coming. Drops it off to James. Edger and James to the 22. 1st down. Colts another gain of 13.
Joe, you talked about the patience of Peyton Manning. That time he just steps up into the pocket. He was going to go downfield. They ran a little play action. And then watch this. Boom, little play action. Edgerrin James looks down the field. Here they come. Dump it off to Edgerrin James. There's nobody on him because all the linebackers are gone.
One of the reasons Bill Polian drafted him and traded Marshall Faulk to get into that spot was that he was such an excellent pass receiver. Caught 63 balls during the regular season. Manning with a play fake goes deep. Pathan incomplete. Madison was back there with him and pushed him at the end line. The question for the official, would he have come down in bounds if he hadn't been shoved?
I think the ball is thrown just a tad too far. You see him go up for the air. Now, does he come down? That's a tough judgment call for the official because you've got the receiver's momentum carrying him out of bounds. If he'd have jumped straight up in the air and started to come down and then was pushed out, I think it could have been ruled differently.
James cuts it up the middle inside the 15. Here's Miami's secondary.
Pat Surtain, cornerback, University of Southern Miss.
Sam Madison, defensive back, University of Louisville.
Brian Walker, strong safety, Washington State University.
Brock Marion, free safety, University of Nevada, Reno.
That is some secondary, too. A couple of Pro Bowlers, Madison and Brock Marion in his first. Madison in his second as a starter.
When you get down around the goal line, you got to figure Marvin Harrison is a guy they love to try and get the football to.
3rd and 2. Incomplete, nearly picked off by Jerry Wilson. Thrown behind the receiver, and here comes Mr. Automatic. Mike Vanderjagt, the field goal kicker.
Edgerrin James coming out of the backfield. And I'll tell you, outstanding coverage by Jerry Wilson, number 24. Watch Edgerrin James. He comes out of the backfield. Now he's going to plant and he come across the middle. Look at this timing. Wilson is there. That ball, if anyone was going to catch it, it would have been Wilson.
I think that's a product of guys playing each other so much. You saw Wilson break so quickly.
Vanderjagt has missed only 2 all year, 1 from 59, 1 from 47. In his career, he's been more accurate than anyone. This will be from 32. Money in the bank. The Colts get the first points of the game. They're up 3-0. Headshots provided by the Bud 1 Airship high above Pro Player Stadium for today's AFC Wild Card Playoff.
Oh, man. I didn't know we had an Air Force.
You are something.
We can attack from anywhere.
Colts on top 3-0. Danny Kite, he is the kickoff specialist. And back deep for the Dolphins, Audrey Denson and Kevin Williams, who is number 5 in the NFL in kickoff returns. Williams from the 3. And taken down at the 27-yard line. We have a timeout. Peyton Manning and company with a 3-0 lead over the Dolphins in Miami. But in the NFL since 1943. It does make the preparation for the coaches a little easier.
Giants and the Redskins in 43 did it.
You play in that game?
No, I missed that.
Fiedler on first down. That one's up for grabs and almost caught at the 34-yard line. That ball floated forever.
Well, David Macklin, number 27, misjudges the ball. He just goes up too soon. Look at this. He misjudged. Watch the ball go over his shoulder. He went up too soon, and the ball floated.
Because of the position of the sun in this stadium, both of them were looking right up into the sun. He just loses it completely. Both he and Gadsden can't find it.
Gadsden had it twice, couldn't hold it. Johnson and Smith in the backfield together. Lamar Smith on the toss. A flag is down. So is Smith at the 35. Now we'll check the marker.
I bet you it's holding against Miami.
I'll bet you're right.
And I'll bet you Dave doesn't want to see the penalty start again.
Holding 65 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Kevin Donnelly, the right guard.
From the ump cam, we get to see it. Number 65, Kevin Donnelly on Josh Williams. Number 96 sees that take place, and there comes the flag. Right out of the right part of his thing.
Got everything.
The ump throwing the flag, the ump taking the picture.
2nd and 20 for Miami. Fiedler, nice fake. Screen. Johnson. JJ to the 28. Here's the Colts defensive front 7.
Brad Scioli, defensive end, Penn State University.
Chad Bradsky, defensive end, Eastern Kentucky University.
Bernard Whittington, defensive tackle, Indiana University.
Ellis Johnson, defensive line, University of Florida.
Cornelius Bennett, outside linebacker, University of Alabama.
Dwight Hollier, linebacker, University of North Carolina.
Mike Peterson, linebacker, University of Florida.
Miami comes out on 3rd and 9 in a 4-wide receiver set, including Jeff Ogden, 88. 4-man rush. Fiedler underneath. McDuffie can't hold it. Good coverage anyway by Burris.
It was excellent coverage, but again, you're in the playoff games or any time during the course of the year, Joe, and you're throwing a pattern. You need 9 yards, and you're throwing a 7-yard pattern.
Well, but still, you don't have the time to get the receivers that far. What really hurts Miami is getting the big penalties and forcing the long yardage situations. This offense is not built to try and overcome those type of problems.
Matt Turk is on to kick. He's had a terrible week. His brother Dan died from cancer December 23rd at the age of 38. Nobody but Dave Warnstadt knew about it. A beautiful punt from Turk, and he knocks it out of bounds near the 20. 51-yard boot with the win. Timeout in Miami. It's still the Colts up by a field goal. Long enough, now it's time for Blue. Rick Schroeder, Kim Delaney, and Dennis Franz are back for a brand new year of NYPD Blue. Tuesday, January 9th at 10, 9 Central here on ABC. Your discretion is advised. Dennis is wonderful, isn't he?
You bet.
Colts start from the 21. Miami defense has carried the club this entire year. And it looks like they're going to have to do it again today. The offense not operating on all cylinders
Well,
yet.
they can't let this Colt offense take control of the game and get too far ahead because they have to protect their offense. Their offense is not the kind that can throw the ball a lot and come back. They've only done it once this year.
Manning incomplete, intended for Pollard. Surtain was there. Edgerrin James has really cut a swath through the NFL in his first 2 seasons as a pro. Led the league in rushing for the 2nd straight season. Did it as a rookie. Led the NFL in yards from scrimmage, over 2,300 yards. And is the first player in NFL history to rush for 1,500 and catch passes for 500 in a season 2 times. Only 6 other players have ever done it once. Wonderful start to his career. Payton with a quick strike and a solid tackle by Marion.
No, I like that call. I think that is such... Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, just did what I think people don't do enough. It's 3rd and long. You run the blitz. You force Peyton Manning to throw the hot receiver. You tackle him and you get off the field. Payton does exactly what he's supposed to do. Manning does what he's supposed to do. And Marion does what he's supposed to do. Put him on the ground.
McDuffie and Ogden, the double deep men for the punt of Hunter Smith. Looking into a stiff wind. Gets off a beauty.
Wow, did he hit big.
All the way back to the 15 goes Ogden. And takes it out to the 34. What a kick into the wind. 57 yards for Hunter, the punter. 3-0. The Bowl Championship Series continues on ABC. The Miami Hurricanes against the Florida Gators in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Live at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, home of the Bowl Championship Series. Dolphins from their own 34. Lamar Smith pounds forward for almost 6. Here's the Colts secondary.
Jeff Burris, cornerback, University of Notre Dame.
Mustafa Muhammad, cornerback, Fresno State University.
Chad Cota, strong safety, University of Oregon Fighting Ducks. Jason Bells, safety, University of Oklahoma.
So far for Lamar Smith, 3 carries, 32 yards.
They just got to keep feeding him the ball.
First down and more. Smith to the 49. And Lamar Smith has really come out of nowhere. He's in his 7th year in the pros. Smith, 2nd all-time in Dolphins history. Single season, 1,139 yards rushing. 14 rushing touchdowns. That's 2nd in Dolphins history.
And with Lamar Smith in this offense, I mean, it's a great offensive line. This is what Lamar Smith has done.
He's a workhorse, 309 carries. That's a club record as well. Smith again, not much this time.
Well, you keep giving it to him, Mike, until they stop him. When you say not much, he picked up 3.5 yards on this play.
But that is the personality of this offense. Chan Gailey has always been a coordinator who really likes to run the football. His preference would be to run the football.
Dave Wanstead said, because we had a commitment to it and repeated it so much, we finally were able to do what they've been trying to do in Miami for years, and that's establish some kind of a running game. Smith again. Still on his feet inside the 30. You had 17.
You had a missed tackle right in the hole. Number 52, Mike Peterson, who really doesn't miss many tackles, but he is in the hole, and he's the guy that has to make this play. Watch number 52 coming from your left. Look at him go up into the hole, and he doesn't make the play. But that's outstanding blocking at the line of scrimmage.
This is what impresses me. See how low he lowers his shoulder just before contact? You saw it in the highlights. You see it here. He doesn't give you anything to tackle.
Smith has already had 4 runs at 9 yards or better. That one, he'll lose yardage. Hitting the backfield will lose 2 or 3. Chad Bratsky, the former New York Giant, came in from the defensive end spot. The Dolphin offense ranked 14th this year, passing ranked only 27th. The first time since 1983 that they had a better ranking in rushing than passing. 1983, ring a bell, fellas?
Dan Marino.
I know that.
Yes, you do.
Dan Marino.
They have totally changed their offensive attitude, and it's worked. Fiedler. Screen, backside, Smith. Oh. Great play by Peterson. ABC's presentation of this AFC wildcard playoff from Miami, brought to you by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. MSN, everything you need to feel at home on the web, all in one place. And Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. Flags are down all over the place. They'll whistle the play dead.
That's movement on the outside. And I'll tell you, the movement on the outside didn't have to. We weren't even a part of the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, 78 offense. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Oh, what a call, though.
The call is perfect. In the draw, the quarterback draw is going to be run a little bit to the right. Richmond Webb is on the left-hand side of the play. He really is not going to be involved in it. But you see Richmond Webb right in the corner. He moves, and then look where Fiedler goes. He goes to the other side.
Dave Wannstedt knows that offense is not going to have that many opportunities for big plays. They squandered that one. 3rd and 14, and that offensive unit committed a record number of penalties this season. Fiedler has to scramble. Now he throws, and it's picked off in the end zone. Chad Cotto with the interception. Intended for Martin, but the ball was underthrown.
This is one of those deals. You don't have to throw the football.
No,
Joe.
he doesn't.
He does not have to throw the football.
Couple of reasons why. First of all, they're in field goal range. Olindo Mare, one of the best in football. Secondly, the wind is at his back. All right, now the patterns are broken. Tony Martin tries to go up the field, and he gets hung up. Chad Cotto does a real nice job of just finding the ball while it's in the air. David Macklin fronting him. I mean, this is just a bad decision by Jay Fiedler. But in the games they've lost, we've seen him make these kind of bad decisions.
So the Colts take over at their own 20. James cuts it back. Edger and James still on his feet. Getting great blocking downfield, midfield, and more. Look at him fight for yardage and out of bounds at the Miami 46. That's the end of the first quarter. The score, the Colts 3, the Dolphins nothing. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. Top of the Dolphins, 3-0. Edger and James, big run into the first quarter. There's 5 carries for 51 yards so far. Both backs doing very well. Manning, a short completion. Joe, let's go back to Edger and James. What a hard run.
Well, not only that, I want to show you why it's the front 7. Here's the corner. Corner, safety, safety. If you don't get the safeties up in support, you want to run at the edges because there isn't any safety there to support in the run. Look at how far the safeties are back. Before they make contact, Edgerrin James is 15 yards downfield and then does an excellent job of making people miss on the way.
A 33-yard run, his longest of the regular season was 30. James again. And he will have the first down at the Miami 36-yard line. Derek Rogers made the tackle.
Edgerrin James, Zach Thomas was telling us about him. He said the one thing about this guy, he breaks tackles. He has got such great movement. He'll go into a pile, and all of a sudden, he comes out of it, and you better tackle this guy.
Great first quarter for James and Smith. 57 and 61 yards respectively, and whopping averages. Play action Manning. Deep down the middle, intended for Kent Dilger, his tight end, and it was overthrown. Thomas from behind and Brian Walker had a couple of steps on him.
That's one of those passes you overthrow it, because when you make your decision to throw to the tight end and you see him, the guy on the front and the guy on the back, you can't even think about trying to thread it in there.
If you do, you wind up getting it picked off. You're right.
And Dilger knew that he and Pollard were going to be prime targets today.
Well, they will against a defense that features corners up and safeties back covering half.
Second and 10, James. Little hesitation move, got him 7 yards.
This is what Zach Thomas was talking about, Joe, where he goes to a pile and there's no place to go, and when he shifts gears and he comes back, he goes back into the hole, and what's it here? He comes up into the hole. Now what? He's stopped. He's going to be stopped right here. Now he sees the hole. He cuts back into it and it explodes up into the hole. They got about 1.5 yards to go.
Call it 3rd and 2. James on the toss. Fighting for the yardage, and he didn't get there. The Miami defense rises up for the stop. Darrell Gardner led the charge.
Yeah, and Sam Madison did a nice job on the corner, too, outside. The whole defense managed to get there that time.
Jason Taylor may have a lot of sacks, but he also can play the run. Look at Jason Taylor. Pushes off. He's the guy that gets to the outside. He does not make the tackle. He doesn't have to. He's got help. All he had to do was slow down Edgerrin James.
So on comes Vanderjack with the wind at his back. This time from 46 yards. They already hit from 32, and it's a fake. Oh, no. Hunter Smith, the punter, on the fake, and they got him. Jason Taylor didn't buy the fake. And the Colts come up empty. Last play.
Well, you take a look at it. You see the ball putting down. Well, when you do that and pick it up right away, this is already a called play. Now you see Moore going over and talking to him, and he said, hey, wait a minute. I didn't tell you to call it, and I always thought that the head coach made the call, Joe.
Batted down and intercepted by Chad Bratsky. What a play by the defensive end. They wanted a little flanker screen, and Bratsky, in his 7th year out of Eastern Kentucky, read it perfectly.
But Jay Fiedler doesn't move with speed. You can't lethargically make a fake and then turn and think you have time. Everything has to move with speed. Watch this. He turns, looks, and then sort of pats the ball and tries to make a throw. You've got to wheel and fire that thing. And what a play by Bratsky.
It's a great play by Bratsky, but also Richmond Webb is the tackle out there. He's got to take Bratsky down. He's got to go to his gut and make him bend over.
The last 2 passes by Jay Fiedler have been intercepted, and the Colts set up shop at the 25. James to the 22. The turnover battle so far being won by the Colts. The Dolphins with 2 interceptions. And in postseason play, the team committing the fewer turnovers wins 86.2% of the time. That's since 1990. 86% is pretty good.
I was saying, even 86, not even with the point, the little 002 part of it.
The Dolphins cannot afford to fall too far behind the Colts. They're not a big comeback team. Manning throws incomplete, intended for Pollard. Good coverage by Robert Jones, the outside linebacker.
You know, when you talk about turnovers, you know, Joe, every single game, starting in preseason, when you talk to coaches, the very first thing they say when you say, what do you think will determine this game? Turnovers. It's the first thing they ever say.
But I attribute that interception to a great play. The one before was just a bad decision by Jay Fiedler.
Can the Colts take advantage? 3rd and 7. Manning underneath to James. 15, 10. First down, Indianapolis.
Did he set up the block for Dilger? Ken Dilger, number 85, is a tight end. And you talk about a guy that has peripheral vision and sees the entire field. Edgerrin James. He catches a pass out in the flat, and there really is no place to go downfield. Here's a pass to fake, and Manning, his patience, gets it out. Now watch what he does. Edgerrin James, he sets up that block right there when you saw number 85. Here comes Dilger. He'll set this up for him. Watch. Dilger, boom! First down.
First and goal. They're just inside the 10-yard line. James. Stutter step gets him a couple.
You know, we've showed the numbers that Edgerrin James has put up, the 1,500 plus and the 500 plus. When I had a chance to visit with him yesterday, there was one thing that really, really has upset him, and that's the fact that in the MVP balloting, he did not get one vote. And he just feels like the kind of year that he has had, he certainly would have deserved one vote.
How could that be? I mean, that's just hard to believe.
Second and goal. Manning rifles one incomplete. Pollard was the closest guy to it. Zach Thomas back on pass coverage with him.
Down around the goal line, when you try and run play-action pass, if you don't get it to the sides real quick, to the corner areas, it's very difficult to complete because the linebackers don't have a chance to bite on the play-action that Tom Moore would call. So you really want to work it to the outside more than the inside.
And somebody blew a coverage on the last play. Jerome Payton was wide open. Manning didn't see it. Manning, Payton can't hold it. Would have been a touchdown.
And this had nothing to do with coverage either. Gamble, number 42, is the guy that's in there covering. And I'm going to tell you, Payton, this ball, you cannot throw the ball any better. Here's Payton coming in. Gamble, 42, will pick him up coming across. And watch this. In your hands.
In your face and on the ground.
Oh, man.
Look at that one. Right off the face mask.
Now Vanderjack will come on from 26. This probably will not be a fake. You think? Vanderjack again perfect on the day. He's hit 2 of 2. And the Colts are up 6-0 over the Dolphins, courtesy of the great defensive play by Chad Bradsky. But they should have had a touchdown. The pair of field goals leading the Dolphins second quarter. 9:33 to go in the first half. First game of the playoffs. And Danny Kite has it teed up at the 30 to kick to Autry Denson and Kevin Williams. 5th in the NFL with a return average of 25-6. Hasn't done as well with the Dolphins, only a little bit over 21 on returns. And it is windy in South Florida.
And Indianapolis is doing everything they can to keep the Miami Dolphins in this game. You don't want to let a team like that hang around. You got to score when you get the opportunities.
And they've already had 2 Jay Fiedler interceptions. And not a whole lot to show for it. Kite with the win. Little mix-up, and Denson will take it 2 yards deep and keep it. Coming up next on ABC, the NFC wildcard game. Marshall Faulk and the defending Super Bowl champions St. Louis Rams head back to the Bayou. They'll battle the NFC West champion New Orleans Saints. Our post-game analysis and read Torrey Holt's NFL Diary online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports.
You see how excited Marshall Faulk was when he found out the Rams were in? He said, okay, now it starts over again. They got their focus back.
And with the Rams and the Colts, their players are saying they let the wrong team get in. Smith only up to the 20.
With Jay Fiedler having the rotator cuff problem with his left shoulder, it's very difficult for him to use his hand to hand off. So everything has to be handed off with his right. Watch this. He comes back. See his right hand? That is an awkward, difficult handoff, and I'm surprised that Lamar Smith and he have been as efficient and proficient doing it. I mean, it's been no problem at all since he started doing it, but he just can't extend that left arm.
2nd and 9. Fiedler in rhythm, but misses McDuffie. There's Damon Heward, the backup. His claim to fame this year, he started one game at Indianapolis, and he beat the Colts. Had the winning touchdown just outside of a minute to go. He was 5-1 as a starter a year ago, but Fiedler was anointed the starter for this franchise in training camp.
And Fiedler knows what it's like to get booed. You're only in the second quarter with 8 minutes and 44 seconds. He's thrown a couple of interceptions, and that was a bad pass because McDuffie was wide open and they booed him.
And the other throws he's made have not really been close to on target.
Blitz coming. They pick it up well. Fiedler throws. Picked again. Cota. The third interception of the first half for the Colts defense.
And the second by Cota.
A return of 24 yards, and Dave Wannstedt knows his team is in trouble.
Well, O.J. McDuffie never even looked back. He's going down the middle of the field, and he doesn't even look back. Chad Cota is right in the middle. He's just playing center field. Now here comes O.J. McDuffie. Now look, he all of a sudden he just looks at the last second. Cota makes the catch.
You see number 37. He's making a break on the ball. It's over McDuffie's head, and he makes the play. I got to believe that Dave Wannstedt is going to have to change quarterbacks and not let this game get so far out of hand that they won't have a chance to win it.
Fiedler has missed his last 4 and had 3 of them interceptions. Edgerrin James changes direction, gets about a yard. We talked about turnovers during the regular season, how critical they are, and Paul said coaches start emphasizing it before camp starts. In the postseason, even more important. At +3, you have an 89% chance of winning. That's what it is right now, +3 on picks.
But I believe if the Dolphin defense can hold here and allow them an attempt at a field goal, then you have to consider Miami still in this game.
Manning, a lot of time. Dilger, touchdown. Check it, Payton.
I'll tell you, we heard Manning in the beginning. He says, you got to throw the perfect pass. You have to throw the perfect pass. This is a perfect pass.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. You can't ask a corner to cover somebody all over the field. Payton is being covered by Madison. He starts up. Look at the amount of time that Sam Madison has to try and stay with Jerome Payton.
And Payton is the guy who dropped the 1 touchdown pass. He didn't drop that one. 3 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown for Jerome Payton. And now the Colts will go for 2.
I believe that you've got to see a quarterback change here. He's got to go to Damon Heward, the Dolphins do.
They're not warming up anybody.
Harrison comes in motion. Manning. Dilger has the 2 points. Beautifully designed play. And the Indianapolis Colts take advantage of that turnover. They have increased their lead to 14-0 in Miami. Today, Drew Henson and the Michigan Wolverines battle the Auburn Tigers in the Capital One Citrus Bowl live at 1 Eastern 10 Pacific, right here on ABC. The Colts enjoying a 14-0 lead. 2 field goals from Mike Vanderjagt, a Peyton Manning touchdown pass to Pathan, and a 2-point conversion. Kite kicking with the win. Denson from the 5. Audrey Denson with a seam across the 30 to about the 35-yard line. We were talking just moments ago, Joe mentioning the fact that he thought there ought to be a quarterback change. I would really be surprised if Dave Wannstedt does it unless Fiedler continues to play poorly because he stuck with him through that arm injury.
I know, but he's been so inaccurate. It isn't just the fact that he's thrown the interceptions. It's the incompletions that concern me. His inaccuracy. He looks like he's struggling with the balance with his left arm. The other thing that you got to figure the Dolphins are doing, they've run the ball for 62 yards with Lamar Smith. Start feeding him again. Take the ball out of Fiedler's hand.
Smith on the toss.
Go.
Running hard. All right, Paul, you're the coach of the Miami Dolphins. You know your offense is sluggish at best. It's a grinded out, not a quick strike offense. What do you do?
Grind it out. But I'm going to tell you something. If you take a look at the Miami Dolphins, went 4 minutes into the game on 4th down, they went for it. They didn't get it. They haven't really done a thing since that time. The first 3 plays they ran, they got 38 yards. The next 3 plays, -5. This team has to keep the ball on the ground and only throw when you have to.
Smith will have the first down. He's got it out to the 48-yard line. This is a Colts defense ranked 25th in the NFL against the run, but in 2 of the last 3 games, they have shored up that defense. They have played much better against the rush. They've played much better overall.
But still, Mike, I think if you're the Dolphins, the way you attack Jim Mora's football team is you run it. Because if you can get some points on the board, this game is far from out of hand. Neither one of these teams has run away from one another this year in the previous matchups.
Colts show blitz. Smith tries to take it outside and does.
Jay Fiedler has had his share of struggles here in the first half, to say the least. Getting inaccurate a little bit here. He scrambles around trying to make a play with his arm. Chad Cota comes up with the interception in the end zone. Then Bratsky just does a terrific job of knocking it down, and this one is overthrown to O.J. McDuffie, and Cota winds up with an interception that sets up the Colts' only touchdown so far in this game.
Miami in Colts territory for the 3rd time today. Smith about a yard shy of a first down. Peterson again and on the stop, and there is starting corner Jeff Burris, who is headed for the locker room. We'll get a report on him as soon as we can.
If you're the Dolphins and you keep running the football like they have against that Colt defense, you're going to force Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, to start to commit more people to the line of scrimmage, and then Fiedler's going to have to throw the ball like New England did a week ago.
They got them all up there now.
Tight formation. Smith just trying for that first down, and he is drilled. Cornelius Bennett came up from his linebacker spot and really popped it.
Well, you went for it on 4th and 7.
No.
Okay? What do you do now if you're Dave Wannstedt? It's a playoff game. You fight for your playoff life. You did it once. Why not do it again?
No sign of the punt team.
I don't think you're only down 14 points. If you put your defense into another hole, the way this offense can move the ball and score, I tell you what, you are really putting your team in a bad position, I think.
4th and almost 2. Fiedler wants to run for it and got it. Dwight Hollier really upset with himself. The former Dolphin had a shot at the quarterback and couldn't get it.
But, you know, Chan Gailey just did a smart thing for a coordinator. Your quarterback is struggling. The fans are booing him. His legs are as valuable as his arm. There's the little play action to Smith. He gets the misdirection. Now it's a nice move. Let him go try and win back a few of the fans and some of his confidence.
Yeah, but if Dwight Hollier doesn't miss the tackle, he's going to get booed a lot more.
It was a one-on-one battle, and Fiedler won it. Back to Smith. Gets about 3.
Well, again, this is what we're talking to Cornelius Bennett yesterday. This is what Cornelius Bennett said. Hey, we want them to run the football. Because if we're going to put the people up there, we're going to stop the run and force them to pass the football. They did it. They intercepted 3 passes. On this drive alone, the Miami Dolphins, 7 plays, 7 runs.
Bennett missed the postseason game a year ago. This is his 21st game in the postseason in his career. He passed along a lot of valuable information to this young ball club. Smith again. Stepping over bodies, and then he is popped again. Tony Blevins, number 26, a backup safety, had a free shot.
This is one of those things is the safety you dream about. Everybody sets a guy up for you, and then you come in and you just level him. They're gonna wear this guy out. Lamar Smith is gonna be worn out. Watch this. He's set up now. Here's the pop, right with the shoulder, right in the chops. Boom. Blevins, look at this. He gets around O.J. McDuffie and then makes the play.
And they could have easily called McDuffie for a hold.
Well, this is I think, where they can have McDuffie make a play for him and get a first down.
3-man rush. Oronde Gadsden, first down at the 24. That was a good throw by Fiedler.
Not Mike. It was
well, it got there.
It did. That's the good point. They didn't pick it off. I think that qualifies at this point as being a good pass. But you'll notice, again, this one is behind him. He's just behind with every throw.
We have reached the 2-minute warning in Miami. Dolphins driving, but they're down 14-0. Berman and Steve Young standing by for the Lexus halftime show. We'll go to Times Square Studios when we are done here. We're at the 2-minute warning in Miami, where the Dolphins have reached Colts territory for the 3rd time today. They still have a goose egg on the scoreboard. It will be 1st and 10 from the Indianapolis 24-yard line.
Now this is where Jay Fiedler has got to be smart for Dave Wannstedt. He had him down there before on a good drive, wound up throwing the interception, trying to make a play. He's just got to settle in and not try and do it all by himself.
Five wide receivers set with Conrad, the fullback, out there as one of them. Fiedler underneath. Gadsden will pick up 4. Mustafa Muhammad made the stop. Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining.
And this is where an offense has a chance to protect the clock a little bit. So often you see people manage the clock and hurry up. This is where the Dolphins, with all their timeouts, give Chan Gailey an opportunity to take the clock down. Don't give the ball back to Peyton Manning. You almost take the mode of not scoring too quickly.
And Gadsden is not on the field. He threw a shoe, had to come to the sideline. Lamar Smith lowers his head, stopped at the line of scrimmage. That Colts defense being stingy right now. Bransky and Williams on the stop.
The surprising part about it is they're letting the clock run down. I just have, after going for it on 4th down, I hope they're not sitting here looking at a field goal.
Well, I'm sure they don't want that, but they do have plenty of time with all those timeouts.
The timeouts are really not a concern at this point. They'll have plenty of time to run a lot more plays if they can get a first down here.
Facing a 3rd and 6. Fiedler with a lot of time goes for the end zone. McDuffie. Peterson was right in front of him the second time that Mike Peterson has been downfield with excellent coverage.
And when you talk to this team about their defense, and the guy that always pops up is Mike Peterson, number 52, as a linebacker. Now here he has coverage on O.J. McDuffie, number 52. Watch this. He's downfield. He sees the ball. Watch him turn to the ball and up in the air and get his hands up. Defensive backs can't play that any better.
Well, you're talking about trying to force a ball into a tight spot.
And what a mismatch that is with a linebacker on McDuffie. Mate, second best in NFL history in his kicking percentage. He missed 2 a week ago before the game winner, and he misses this one. The Colts still throwing a shutout at Miami. That's long enough. Now it's time for Blue. Rick Schroeder, Kim Delaney, and Dennis Franz are back for a brand new year of NYPD Blue. Tuesday, January 9th at 10, 9 Central here on ABC. Viewer discretion is advised. And what will the Colts do with 31 seconds remaining in the half?
And 3 timeouts. Run it.
James. ABC's presentation of this AFC wildcard playoff from Miami brought to you by Chrysler. We're reinventing the passion for driving. Charles Schwab, a proud sponsor of ESPN and ABC Primetime Football. FedEx, the official worldwide delivery service of the NFL. And Capital One, what's in your wallet? Colts satisfied with their lead, and that's the end of the first half. With the score 14-0, let's check in with Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah, Mike, I'm joined by Indianapolis head coach Jim Moore. And, Coach, near perfect first half for you, but there appeared to be some confusion on the botched field goal in the second quarter. What happened?
Well, we tried a fake field goal. It wasn't a botched field goal. We were trying to fake there. We thought we could, pick up the first down with the fake, so that's what happened. And they saw it and reacted to it and made a good play on their part.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Let's send it back to you, Mike.
All right, Solomon, thanks. The end of the first half to score 14-0 Colts. Now let's join Chris Berman and Steve Young for the Lexus halftime show.
Michael, thank you very much. Well, Steve, a couple of interceptions and a fourth down gamble. It didn't work yet. It was only 6-0, but yet the third interception, the missed field goal. How much more can Miami handle here?
Not much more. It looks to me like they came off of last week's throwing heroics in New England, saying Jay Fiedler's going to carry the day. Let's pass, run, pass. And I don't think it's working very well. I've had my off shoulder hurt. It's affecting his throwing. It's affecting his accuracy. I think that they got to take the pressure back off him. It's not done. 14-0. Got plenty of time. But the pass, run, pass, rather than their normal run, pass. I think they get back to that one.
How about a game in Florida with 3 interceptions by guys named Chad against the Dolphins? Just a thought. We'll be back with more on this game. The Lexus halftime show after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
I want you to get together.
Here now, Chris Berman. Happy holidays again, everybody. New Year's Day and beyond approaching for college football, and that can mean only one thing. Time to go big-time bowling, and ABC is the place to do it. The BCS Bowl season officially kicks off New Year's Day with Purdue against Washington in the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. Purdue's last appearance, 1967, when a quarterback named Bob Griese led them to a victory over USC. 34 years later, they're led by quarterback Drew Brees. It's multi-dimensional Marcus Tuiasosopo opposing him for the Huskies. Then it's the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, where Dennis Erickson and his Oregon State Beavers take on Bob Davie, Matt LaVecchio, and the rest of Notre Dame's Fighting Irish. January 2nd, it's the Nokia Sugar Bowl, where Miami looks to beat Florida with hopes of a share of the national championship. Then on January 3rd, it's the FedEx Orange Bowl, where number 1 Oklahoma and Josh Heupel take on number 2 Florida State and Heisman Trophy winner Chris Weinke, who knows this will be a battle.
I think that people will realize that these are the 2 best teams in the country going head-to-head, and it's going to be a war, and I think we're ready for that war as well as Oklahoma is ready for that war.
The BCS Bowl season begins New Year's Day on ABC. It all starts with the Capital One Citrus Bowl on January 1st, 1 Eastern Time, Michigan against Auburn from Orlando. Well, down the road a piece from Orlando in Miami, it's the Colts. Peyton Manning, Jerome Pathon, 17-yard touchdown, 14-0 Colts at the half. We'll be back. Colts at the half. Like the favorite Colts at the team that dislodged them as division champs, the Dolphins. It's the same in our late game today. The Super Bowl champion St. Louis Rams at NFC West champion New Orleans. Like the Colts and Dolphins, each team won in the other guy's building, with tempers escalating each time. It's a pre-New Year's Eve party on Bourbon Street. We go to New Orleans. The man who'll call the second game, Al Michaels. Happy holidays, Al. competitive division, the NFC West. Each of the 5 teams has won a division crown in each of the last 5 seasons. The Rams last year division champs, and on to the Super Bowl where they beat Tennessee. New Orleans this year. This has become a very heated rivalry over the last 5 weeks. They met in St. Louis when the Saints went to the TWA Dome at the end of November, and Aaron Brooks made his first NFL start. The Saint defense kept them in the game early on. The Rams were able to erase a 14-point deficit, but Brooks, the second-year kid quarterback from Virginia, scored at the end of a long drive to make it 31-24 the final. Then last week, the Rams needing a win to stay alive. Marshall Faulk came in. This is his hometown. It was a spirited and very heated game with hard hits. That one on Pete Poole. Kurt Warner suffered a concussion, but he will start today. The Rams beat the Saints, and then when the Bears beat Detroit, it put St. Louis into the playoffs against New Orleans. The wild card game coming up at 4 Eastern time. And back to you guys in New York. All right, Al, thank you very much. 14-0 the Dolphins trend. Now, Damon Heward won the game at Indy earlier this year for Miami. Do you make a change if you're Dave Wannstedt, a quarterback in the Yankee?
The only reason you make a change is if he's hurt. If he's not hurt, you can't make it unless you want to have a new statement for next year, because that'll be it.
As for Indianapolis, stay the course. Well, they haven't turned the ball over yet. If they don't turn it over,
that's right. If they don't get a turnover in the second half, I think Indianapolis is going to own this game. I think obviously Peyton's doing a great job. The Colt defense will give up 100 yards to Smith because he's got 87 already. But as long as it's not 150, you can't give another 80 yards in the second half, because the only way back in for the Dolphins is to run the football really effectively and put it in the end zone.
You were right. You talked about the Colt defense playing playoff caliber football the last few games. They're playing it with the 3 turnovers.
They've been at it for a whole month now. I mean, this is nothing to them. This is the 4th playoff game of the year for them.
So the Indianapolis Colts looking to be the number 6 team to beat the number 3 team, as Miami won on the road last year as a 6 team at Seattle, the number 3 team. But the Dolphins are at home. See if they can do anything about it. Second half coming up.
Lexus December to Remember sales event is going on now through January 2nd. Whether you buy or lease, you'll find values you never dreamed possible. So this year, make sure you get the gift you really want. Hurry in to your Lexus dealer today.
The Lexus Halftime Show, brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. We'll return with the second half kickoff after this from our ABC stations.
Okay, here's the deal.
This is O.J. McDuffie of the Miami Dolphins.
It just comes down to if you're playing really good football in the month of January, then you have a chance to keep advancing. That's all we wanted was a chance.
30 teams will fail this year. This gives you an opportunity to go out and do what everybody wants to do, which is win a championship.
The quest begins.
And right now, the Dolphins are failing because Jay Fiedler threw 3 first-half interceptions, the first quarterback in 5 years with 3 first-half picks in the playoffs. And the Colts, with 1 touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and 2 field goals, lead it 14-0 as we're ready to start the second half. Danny Kite to kick to Denson and Kevin Williams. Williams has had 1 kickoff return this year, 97 yards for a touchdown. Kite into the win. Williams moves up to the 13. And taken down to the 30. It was a real struggle for Jay Fiedler in the first half. Since '95, he's the only one to throw 3 picks in the first half. Scott Williams, the last to do it.
Yeah, a couple of them decisions. This is the decision in the first quarter. Chad Cota picks it off. He tries to make a play on the run. Bradsky knocks it up in the air and picks it off. Tries to force it down the middle to O.J. McDuffie, and Cota winds up with this one in his hand.
Cota with 2 interceptions and 6 tackles in the first half. Fiedler starts the third quarter. Miami begins at its own 30, and Fiedler to throw on first down. Picks up 4 and gets out of bounds. The first half stats, the biggest one of all, the 3 turnovers. The Colts, only with 143 yards in total offense, just 16 more than the Dolphins, as Miami rushed for 90 first half yards.
They only had to go an average of 27 yards on their 3 scoring drives, so obviously, they haven't really had much field to try and move the ball on.
Look at those third down conversions. 1 for 6 for the Colts, 1 out of 7 for the Miami Dolphins. That is not good.
Smith cuts it outside. First down and more. Lamar Smith into Colts territory to the 42.
I know that Cornelius Bennett has a bad right hand because he had a cast on it when he came in to see us yesterday. But he's a linebacker that's been around a long time. And one of the things you do not do is at the end of the line, you don't wait on a player. You go attack him. Watch him sit and wait. Now, Smith gets out to the outside, just knocks him down with one arm. There's nobody out there now. He's got to block Tony Martin. Number 80 gets a block, and down the field they go. Just run the football.
That was a 24-yard scamper by Smith. He has 111 yards on the day already. Fiedler play action. Screen. Johnson. Cut down from behind as he got to the 35. Bratsky, nice job of chasing the play.
Bratsky showed a little bit of speed because he was on his way to the quarterback. Red screen, got back into the play. He's limping a little bit and ends up making the tackle. That's just hustle. Here comes Bratsky. He is number 92. Watch that. He reads screen right now, gets into the flow, and he makes a dive and makes the tackle.
And he came up limping after Mark Dixon fell on him. Bratsky from the Giants. Back to Smith on the ground inside the 30.
Those 2 guys in the middle, actually the 3, Mark Dixon, the left guard, Tim Ruddy, the center, and Kevin Donnelly, the right guard, are doing a very nice job on the interior of that Colt defense. Lamar Smith has gained a lot of yards, and a lot of them right up the gut.
Well, Alice Johnson told us yesterday, we asked him about this offensive line. Why can they block so well now and running the ball as well? He said they are very good as a unit.
And he said those interior 3 guys have the best combination blocks of anybody in the league. Smith again. Great cut by Lamar Smith. David Macklin, the rookie out of Penn State, had him dead to rights, and he just left him in his tracks.
But also, you didn't see that niftiness that you saw in Lamar Smith. I think he's tired. You either spot him right now, or you run a play-action pass to give him an opportunity to catch his breath just a little bit. You keep handing him the ball, he's going to get tired. It's going to go on the ground.
You don't get tired when you make over $1 million a year, Joe.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't. Not allowed to.
So that's a difference.
Just keep giving him the ball.
2nd and 5 for the Dolphins on a critical drive for them. Fake the end around, give it to Smith, and Smith put on his back at the 22.
Well, now you know the game plan. Since Fiedler's last pick, his last interception, 13 runs, 4 passes.
We talked about the combo block, Mike. You see Kevin Donnelly and Ruddy, the center and the right guard. What they do is they block down on Josh Williams and then come off on Dwight Hollier, the middle linebacker.
3rd and 3, 4 wide receivers set. Autry Denson is the setback. Colts come with a blitz. Fiedler, nice adjustment to Denson. Autry Denson inside the 15. Great awareness by Fiedler under pressure.
That was a good decision. And it's really been, his inaccuracy has contributed to it, but the decision process has got him more of a problem than anything. Little play action, they come up the middle from the ump cam, you get to see it. Not a very good block by Denson. Hey, if you don't block somebody, that means that means you're going to be wide open in the spaces, so you better catch it. You're right.
1st and 10, Miami from the 14. They're down 14-0 to the Colts. Fiedler. A lot of room. Fiedler to the 6. Well, the entire defense fought that fake.
Well, when you're handing off with your right hand, you have the ability to hide it from the defense going this way. Watch this. He's going to right. He hides the ball completely, never exposes it. Now he has to tuck it in his right arm a little bit. Tony Martin's trying to block for him on Muhammad.
Jay Fiedler, 267 rushing yards this year. Dan Marino, in his career, 87 rushing yards.
Yeah, but those were hard yards.
And they were early in his career, too.
Smith. Cut down as he went inside the 5. They'll mark it at the 2. That will be a 1st and goal, Dolphins. This is an impressive drive when they had to have it.
And they did it basically by running the football.
You talk about the lineman block, and Mark Dixon, number 63. He is the guy that's going to get a block. Watch him pull, and then up into the hole, and he gets the block on Cota, number 37, right at the point of attack. You'll see it right now. There's a block. There's the hole. And also Conrad's got a nice block, number 44.
2 fullbacks in front of Smith. Lamar Smith. Nice stop by Macklin, and then he got help.
This is not defensively. Larry Chester, number 64, is the biggest guy really on this defensive line at 310. Both the tackles are about 285, Williams and Johnson. Both the ends are at 275, Scioli and Bratsky. So they're really not that big up front.
This will be the 11th play of a drive that's taken almost 7 minutes off the clock. Tight set. Smith. Touchdown.
They just run over the left side. Richmond Webb is over there. Mark Dixon, number 63, is over there. 78 is Richmond Webb. Look at the blocking. Webb just takes Bratsky out. They block inside. Hunter Goodwin is the tight end, and he is a huge tight end. And look at the hole.
Mate for the point after. And the Dolphins have cut the lead in half. Lamar Smith with his first score of the postseason. He has 129 yards rushing. This drive, they needed to feed the ball to Lamar Smith. He got it 9 of 11 times. The drive went 70 yards and 6:51 to cut the lead to 14-7. That is the Dolphins' nature. It has been under Dave Wannstedt. This is what they do, and they did it well on that drive.
How about the last 2 drives? 19 runs, 4 passes, and over 14 minutes of possession.
Wilkins is the deep man. Line drive kick will go into the end zone. Wilkins will take a knee. The Colts will start from the 20. Playoff action from Miami. 14-7 Colts.
Use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
These overhead shots provided by the Budweiser.com airship high above Pro Player Stadium for today's AFC Wild Card Playoff. The crowd back in it because the Dolphins are back in it. Manning. Underneath to James. Picks up about 7.
One encouraging thing for the Miami fans are out there, the Miami Dolphins have not allowed a touchdown in the third quarter this entire year. They've given up only 9 points, and that has been done since 1939 when the Giants did it in an 11-game season. But can you imagine? And 3 of the points were gotten by the Colts in the last game they played. So they've given up 3 field goals in the third quarter this year.
2nd and 2 for the Colts. Manning again talking to his line. James hitting the backfield. Fights forward. That's how good Edgerrin James is.
Zach Thomas is so upset with himself, Joe, because he knows he had him in the backfield. And he told us yesterday, he said, hey, this guy, the one thing you got to do is put him on the ground because he can break tackles. Look at Zach Thomas. He is really going to be upset with himself. Boom. He slides inside. He's got a shot. He actually tackled his own man. He doesn't get Edgerrin James.
So often we look at guys rip off 60 and 70-yard runs and think that's terrific. That was a terrific individual effort and run.
Edgerrin James is a magnificent running back. Miami may have been offsides, and James is buried in the backfield. Derek Rogers came off the corner, but there's a marker down. He may have started early.
You may be quick.
Offside defense, 59. 5-yard penalty.
But you're not that quick.
First down.
You can always get in the backfield and blow up a play when you're there before everyone else. Number 59 off the edge. They try and bring the tight end across to block him, but he's so quickly upfield and in the backfield, he almost took the handoff.
So 1st and 5 for the Colts. Going against the wind. They will have the wind in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins penalized 4 times today. The Colts, not at all. Dilger, the tight end, to the 43. That will be a first down for Indianapolis. On New Year's Day, Drew Henson and the Michigan Wolverines battle the Auburn Tigers in the Capital One Citrus Bowl. It's live at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, right here on ABC. Colts at their 44. 5 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting, third quarter. Intended for Harrison, incomplete.
You really have to pick your spots when you go after Peyton Manning. Talking to Jim Bates yesterday, he said, you can't line up and show him things right away because what he'll do is he'll just throw the ball hot like he did that time as Derek Rogers tried to come around the corner on him. You've got to show the blitzes late, and you've got to make your guys go after him without hesitation.
And his defense has done a great job against Marvin Harrison. 102 catches in the regular season. He has 1 catch today for 4 yards. Manning, Dilger underneath. Lost his footing and went down. They'll mark it at the Miami 49-yard line. Manning is such a bright guy. He studies so much film. He sees the rush coming. He's been sacked once every 31 dropbacks. That is the best rate, second best rate since 1970. Who held it? Dan Marino. Who did see a blitz in his sleep. And there's the statue outside of Pro Player Stadium of one of the greatest men who ever laced it up.
You can't make that statue big enough for that guy.
Manning, Harrison dropped it. Right at the sticks. Jerry Wilson was there, but that's a catch that the Pro Bowler should have made.
You know, Manning is waiting on Marvin Harrison to get open. Here goes Marvin Harrison. Watch, a little fake. He's got the first down marker. All he has to do is catch the ball. A little bit behind for him doesn't make any difference. He should catch it.
Hunter Smith on for only the 3rd time today. The kick to Jeff Ogden into the win. Ogden waits at his 10. Smith booms another one. The wind will hold it up, and it's right at the goal line. Was he in or not? Very, very close. Billy Austin down just in front of the goal line, and he didn't save it.
You know, if he just stops and puts his hand on it, it's going to be down. Instead, he jumps on it, and I believe his head will wind up touching into the end zone.
Austin nearly pinned him at the 6-inch line. For the Bowl Championship Series, and on Wednesday night, undefeated and #1 ranked Oklahoma will battle Heisman winner Chris Winkie and the second-ranked Florida State Seminoles for college football's national championship in the FedEx Orange Bowl. It's January 3rd, live at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Fiedler and Miami start from the 20, the same way they finished the last drive. Lamar Smith for 3. Miami has 2 touchdown drives this year of 80 yards or more. That's tied for the fewest in the entire league. And they need to go 80 yards on this possession.
Well, they don't have big plays as a part of this offense. I think they've got to try and take a shot down the field somewhere. Give Tony Martin a chance to make a play.
Fiedler with time, and now it runs out. Jason Belser on a safety blitz.
And Ellis Johnson, number 62, is the guy that gets in there first. And Ellis Johnson, we looked at him yesterday talking to him. He really doesn't look that big. He's 6'2", 288. Watch him, number 62, Ellis Johnson. Boom, back to the inside, and he's there, along with Belser.
See, now, to me, that's a quarterback sack. Get rid of the football. You call the quick one, there's nowhere to go. Jay Fiedler is not managing the game as well as he could.
3rd and 11 after the sack. Little toss to Denson. Autry Denson fighting for yardage, needed to get to the 30, and he didn't make it. Now, a lot of people here will be upset with that call on 3rd and 11, but this is a conservative offense by nature.
It is, but that play picked up 10 yards. That was an excellent play. If he breaks one more tackle, that's all he really asked him to do, and he picked up the first down. They only missed it by a yard.
Well, you remember, Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator, has to call the game to the strength of this team, and that is the defense. So you don't take unnecessary risks and chances.
Turk, who got off a 51-yarder, his first punt, will punt with the win. That's short. Not a good kick this time, and it takes a bounce for the Colts out of bounds at the 37-yard line. A punt of only 34 yards for Matt Turk. 14-7 Colts. Miami, where it's a little chilly. Not even going to break the low 60s today. Edger and James. 3 yards to the 40. ABC's presentation of this AFC wildcard playoff from Miami, brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Get the power of 3, the Intel Pentium 3 processor. Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you. And Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL, an official airline of the Super Bowl. Manning steps up and throws incomplete. Had Harrison open at the Miami 45.
Jason Taylor came off the corner, and he forced Manning to step up inside. They're trying to block Jason Taylor with the tight end, Ken Dilger. Look at this. He outruns him, but look at Manning. Steps up. He should have completed his pass.
Well, and see, you don't have to get to Peyton Manning. You just have to make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, and he will throw the ball inaccurately. He is not superhuman. He's pretty close.
And he's only hit 10 out of 21 passes today for 100 yards. Manning hits this one. It will be a first down. Harrison with his second catch of the afternoon. Trent Gamble, the rookie, was there, but Manning fit that one in nicely.
Marvin Harrison working the middle of the field. You don't want to try and go out against those corners. There he makes his turn, goes down and catches the ball. Terrific hands. You know, and I like a quarterback that throws the ball low in the middle of the field. Not quite that low, but you want to keep the ball down.
1:23 and counting, third quarter. Edger and James. Nice stiff arm, then knocked out of bounds.
When you take a look at the way Peyton Manning has tried to attack this Miami defense, you see that there is patience here. Look at underneath. He's tried to take it up on the corners, okay, away from the safeties. And then there's the patience that he has shown underneath. 14 pass attempts underneath, of which he's completed 8. And he has stayed away from Madison and Surtain.
Good idea.
Well, they don't play as much man as they used to in this philosophy. They're up close and pressing.
Manning tipped it incomplete off the hands of Robert Jones. Had the shot and a pick.
Oh, Robert Jones, if you turn it, you get your hands on the ball. He really had a great opportunity to make the interception. Robert Jones is number 52. He's covering Pollard, the tight end. Watch this. What? This perfect play. Look inside. There it is. The ball is there. Grab it.
If he could catch, he wouldn't have been a linebacker, right?
He'd been a tight end.
He'd been a tight end.
3rd and 11. Manning under pressure, incomplete. Harrison wants a flag. He was covered by Gamble. There was contact, no penalty.
That time, Peyton Manning got some pressure on him. He's basically been standing up, throwing the football. This time, Darryl Gardner, one of the big guys in the middle, who's really made this defense tick, puts pressure on him. Here comes a big guy up. Peyton has to let this one go and really can't follow through to get the ball down the field to Marvin Harrison.
Smith will punt to Ogden again. For the most part, though, that Colts offensive line has done a great job against 2 of the premier safeties in the game. Got close on this one. Ogden on the run. Takes him back to the 28-yard line. An 11-yard return after a punt of only 32. Time running out, 3rd quarter. Time running out on the Dolphins, down by a touchdown. 7-point lead over his counterpart Dave Wanstatt. First game of the playoffs in the year 2000. The journey to the Super Bowl starts today in Miami. Fiedler in rhythm. McDuffie with a catch up at the 40. Mike Peterson on the tackle.
Now, since Jay Fiedler threw 3 picks and 4 passes, he's 6 for 7 and come out a lot better in the 3rd quarter.
He led them from behind last week in a must-win situation at New England. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The score, Colts 14, Dolphins 7. We'll be back after this from our ABC stations. The Dolphins actually with more total yards than the Colts. They are dominating the time of possession, but the 3 turnovers have put them in a major hole as we start the 4th quarter. They're down 14-7. Smith hitting the backfield. He'll lose a yard. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Boomer?
All right, Mike, thank you. A surprising story. After 1 year as head coach of the New York Jets, Al Groh apparently is gone. He's going to succeed George Welsh at Virginia. The Jets say they won't comment on it till after January 2nd. Could Bill Parcells be coming back? That's just wondering out loud. But Groh, after 1 year of the Jets, guys, gone to Virginia. Michael?
And Boomer, he has an ACC history. He was the head coach of the Wake Forest for quite a while. Now going back to replace George Welsh, who totally rebuilt that program. Smith just tripped up, got to the 43. That means the Jets have had 3 head coaches in a calendar year. If you just joined us, the Colts got off to a quick start courtesy of a Fiedler interception. He tried to force one deep down the middle, had one batted up and picked by Bratsky, and then Cotto with his 2nd pick of the day. Pathan with the only touchdown. Vanderjagt kicked a couple of field goals, and then with a good drive, Miami comes back. Smith caps off the drive with a touchdown run.
And how important is that 2-point play?
That's huge.
You bet it is.
And now you're going to put the ball in the hands of Jay Fiedler again. Smith has carried him through the 3rd quarter. Now it's up to Jay to be smart with the football.
Autry Denson, the 3rd down back, is in on 3rd and 7. Fiedler trying to scramble, needs to get to the 50s, got the first down and slides in safe at the 46.
That's the difference between Jay Fiedler and Damon Heward. Heward may be healthy, he may be one who can throw the football a little bit more, but the one thing that Jay Fiedler brings to this offense is his ability to make plays with his legs. He does give the pass a chance. Now he does a nice job of reading as Cota tries to go into coverage. Bratsky can't catch him, or Muhammad. He picks up the first down.
And with that bad shoulder, he makes the smart decision not to take the contact. Smith on the toss behind Conrad. Lamar Smith. At the 26-yard line, Jeff Burris made a saving.
This guy will wear you down. We got Mike Peterson as a linebacker, and I think he is down back at the 45. But Richmond Webb, number 78, on Chad Bratsky, number 92. Here's the block. Watch this. He takes him to the outside and allows Lamar Smith to make the cut back to the inside. That's power, folks.
Well, you just can't bring him down. I mean, there's nothing to hit but shoulders and thighs.
And Lamar Smith just broke Larry Zonka's all-time playoff rushing record of 145 yards. Did it in the Super Bowl. Smith with 155. And Ellis Johnson is the injured Indianapolis player. Johnson has been troubled with knee problems all year long. The Dolphins driving to tie it up.
Hello.
Dave Wanstad, a tip of the cap. He knows his football team. He knows their strengths and weaknesses. Jay Fiedler has 3 first-half interceptions. He goes back to what he does best, run the football and play defense.
And I know there were a lot of fans here, in fact, even Joe said, let's pull Fiedler and let's get somebody else in the game. But Wanstad had enough courage to stay with him.
And around to Martin. Tony Martin to the 20.
I still feel like the way Fiedler played in the first half, if he had come out and struggled early in the second half, Dave might have had to make the change. But the other thing is, by going back to Lamar Smith, you control the tempo. The big thing is you're not allowing Peyton Manning on the field very much, and I think that's a big key. They play to their strengths, run the football, play great defense. That way you control the tempo of the game.
Well, we talked about 3 guys in this game, the triplets for Indianapolis, and their defense has shut them down.
Met at the line on 2nd and 3, gained maybe a yard. And you know, Dave Wanstad deserves a lot of credit for the regular season as well, because nobody picked the Miami Dolphins to win the tough AFC East. I mean, absolutely nobody, as he took over for Jimmy Johnson.
And he makes an interesting point when you talk about Tennessee and Baltimore. They play in the same division with Cleveland and Cincinnati that have had struggles. But in the AFC East, nobody feels like anyone there is a weak sister.
Not even New England with that poor record, because Bledsoe can burn you. 3rd and a long 2. Smith. Not even close, and the Colts rose up that time.
Dwight Hollier, number 56. This is the way a middle linebacker is supposed to fill a hole. You make your decision, you see the daylight, and you get there before the running back can get through. Watch number 56 in the middle, coming off the right side. Sees Lamar Smith, and there's the pop. They make the big hit. Number 56 comes up. Number 52, Peterson, and put him on the ground.
Hollier, originally a 4th-round draft choice by the Dolphins. Mare, who missed from 38 yards, will try this one from 38, the same spot. And he got that one. Olindo Mare cuts the lead to 4. ABC Sports, Washington and Purdue in the Rose Bowl, presented by AT&T. Then at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, Oregon State against Notre Dame in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Right here on ABC, the home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Notre Dame, huh?
Go Irish.
They're not playing Navy?
Hey, Bob Davies did a fabulous job there.
You never miss a shot.
Great job. No, he really doesn't, you know that? I don't care. I don't care.
Hats off to Don Nehlen at West Virginia. Wins his final bowl game.
Now
the only time they won a bowl game.
We've covered both our alma maters. How did Citadel do?
Oh, they lost in basketball.
Good. Well, this game has gone pretty much the way both coaches expected it to do. When you talk to Jim Mora, you talk to Dave Wannstedt, neither coach felt like this team was going to get away. It was going to be a 60-minute football game. It's the way the two previous meetings have gone this year.
Didn't they talk about turnovers? First thing they both said, turnovers.
The Dolphins trying to come back from those 3 first-half interceptions. Wilkins has the seam. Gets it out to the 23. The Indianapolis Colts had the leading passer, the leading rusher, and the leading receiver in the National Football League coming into this game. They have been controlled beautifully by that Miami defense.
Well, the guy in the middle, Edgerrin James, has been doing some things, and maybe they ought to get the ball back in his hands a little bit more.
Well, in the previous 2 meetings, I mean, in November, Harrison only caught 4, and in December, just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, he only caught 6.
But James has a pair of 100-yard games against that Miami defense. James, very patient, but only gets a couple up to the 25.
I think the difference in this Dolphin defense has really been the play of the guys up front. We saw Daryl Gardner put pressure on Peyton Manning. That time, Tim Bowens forces Edgerrin James to go much wider than he wanted to. The 2 big tackles are starting to take over the line of scrimmage.
Peyton Manning ought to be thinking maybe a little bit about going downfield, Joe, because they do have the wind in the 4th quarter, and that, I think, is going to really make the difference.
And I think you look for the tight ends. They're the ones that you want in the matchups on the linebacker.
Play action by Manning. Pollard, tight end screen. And the big guy roars out to the 38. What a load he is from a tight end spot.
You know why they make these things work so well? When they run play action, they run a screen, it's because of their offensive line that fires out.
I'm going to show you, Paul. What happens is you get the linebackers flowing this way. Manning runs this way. When Pollard sets, there's nobody over there. Look at the linebackers flow. Zach Thomas has to respect it. Robert Jones has to respect the run.
Manning with excellent protection. Harrison got it!
And there's a flag on the play.
Down. A bobbling catch as he beats Surtain. Surtain applauding. It's offensive interference.
First of all, how good a catch was this?
Pass interference, offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
You know, Joe, this is the thing I was talking about. They're smart enough to know they've got the win, and what does Manning do? He goes down the field to Marvin Harrison. Now, they're both pushing each other.
Now, you can see the left hand of Marvin Harrison. Watch this right there. See, if they're pushing one another and there isn't separation created, then you'd say, okay, it's mutual. But because he got an advantage with the push, that's why I believe they called it.
It's a 49-yard penalty and the first flag against the Colts in the entire game. Manning dumps it. Payton. A lot of room over the middle. Payton up to the 46. Only 2 yards shy of a first down.
Payton. That was Payton with patience.
The poet laureate.
Go ahead,
poet of the booth.
Well, I'll tell you, it just takes patience. He looks around. Here comes Payton, number 86, across the middle. Well, it also helps when the defensive back falls down.
Yeah, when Jerry Wilson falls to the ground and you're running scot-free, it makes life just a little bit easier in the middle of the field.
2nd and 2. James just crossing that goal line, should be a first down. Time becoming a factor, 7:40 and counting, especially since Miami needs time for one of those drives on the ground.
Well, when you looked at this game, Miami had 2 possessions in the 3rd quarter because that's the type of an offense they are. They're going to eat the clock up. The Colts haven't had a chance to be on the field that much, but with Edgerrin James, you got to figure they're going to be a patient one.
Didn't look like they got a very good mark out of this one.
Yeah, they got enough. Just enough.
It will be a new set of downs for Jim Mora trying to win his first playoff game in the initial playoff game of the 2000 postseason. The Colts at Miami. They're playing for the third time in 35 days. But nobody is fooling anybody. It's just execution and who wants it the most. James. Nice cut back and great blocking. Edger and James to the Miami 37.
Again, what does it is Miami believes that their front seven can play against anybody. You've got to give credit to that Indianapolis offensive line. The corners are up again. See, the corners are up. The safeties are back. Tarek Glenn on the left side. Marcus Pollard, the tight end on the left side, just springs it out. There's Glenn and Pollard. Look at the two of them work together. James with, as you've talked about, Paul, great patience to be able to string it out and then cut it up.
98 yards rushing for Edger and James. Half a yard at best on that one. Robert Jones up from the linebacker spot.
You just mentioned Tarek Glenn as the left tackle, number 78 for the Colts. We talked to him, and you asked him about blocking for Edger and James. He said one thing: cover up. Cover up the guy in front of you so that the guy in front of you cannot see Edger and James. If you can't see him, you can't tackle him.
And if he can't see the color, he won't run someplace else.
Exactly.
And Glenn can cover up about anybody. 6'5", 335. Well, given the 32-yard line, Brock Marion, the Pro Bowler, with the stop.
You know, sometimes you have to just let people know you're going to blitz them and make them throw the ball. We talked about Jim Bates wanting to try and not commit too soon to go after Peyton Manning, plus he's so good at recognizing the blitz. That time he came with Gerald Wilson off the corner and figured, okay, let's make him throw the football. Our guys have to tackle.
Manning calling an audible. Blitz coming. Manning goes deep. Incomplete. At the goal line was Harrison with Surtain.
Well, that's some gutsy defensive coordinatorship right there. 2 in a row they go after Manning. They figure Manning is good, but his guys can get there. Outside, Patrick Surtain again. The ball's up, but Manning just doesn't get enough time to make the throw accurately enough.
And here is Mike Vanderjagt.
Money in the bank, is that what you call him?
He is money, but this will be from 50 yards. He's hit 2. Vanderjagt. He has hit all 3, including that 50-yarder. The lead is back to 7. It was almost more. Harrison just missed it. Headshots provided by the Budweiser.com airship high above Pro Player Stadium for today's AFC Wild Card playoff game, and it's been a beauty. The Dolphins preparing to get the ball back. They are down by 7 points with 4:55 left to go in regulation. Danny Kite. Denson driven 7 yards deep, and he'll keep it there. Timeout on the field, only 4:47 to go. Next on ABC, the NFC wildcard game. Marshall Faulk and the defending Super Bowl champion St. Louis Rams head back to the Bayou to battle the NFC West champion New Orleans Saints. Get post-game analysis and read Torrey Holt's NFL Diary online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports. Miami 80 yards away from a tying touchdown. Smith will get 7. The Mike Vanderjagt field goal of 50 yards, the longest in Colts postseason history. Joe, where did he play at college?
I believe it was West Virginia.
That's correct. All right, what do you do here? Same thing?
First of all, obviously, you go for every fourth down if you get it. I think you continue to run the football. 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Plenty of time to run your offense still.
Smith stops shy of the first down. Dwight Hollier, the former Dolphin, who's had a couple of wicked hits in this game.
Well, he looked at some film and he knows how to fill a hole. I'm going to tell you, here's the next Dolphin, Dwight Hillier, and watch this. When he fills a hole, watch how fast this thing closes. Bam! Down.
Well, he just throws Rob Conrad to the side.
Fiedler with a quarterback keeper will get the first down.
All right, he's got his 3 timeouts left. He also has the 2-minute warning, so there really isn't any hurry. I believe if you're the Colts, though, is you start putting people at the line of scrimmage and take Lamar Smith out of this offense. Jay Fiedler has yet to prove he can throw the ball upfield with much accuracy. Make him try and do it.
5 wide receivers, no backs. Fiedler, look out from behind and nearly picked off right into the chest of Brad Scioli. Couldn't hold it.
Boy, Cornelius Bennett just took a run at Fiedler, and he never saw him coming. He just gets the ball away, and Scioli almost makes the interception. Scioli is number 99. He's the left defensive end, and here comes Cornelius Bennett, number 97. Watch, ball goes bang.
See,
that's good.
But that he knows he's got the hot over there. The receiver runs it. He tries to get it off.
2nd and 10. Back to the I formation. To the sideline, and just shy of the first down, Gadsden taken down at the 41. The clock did not stop because his progress was stopped inbounds by Mustafa Muhammad.
Watch how close Brad Scioli comes to picking this off. Looking out to the right, Fiedler just fires this thing and hits Scioli right in the chest. Now, Mike Peterson and Brad Scioli, Peterson a 2nd-round pick, Scioli a 5th-round pick a couple years ago, those were the guys that the Colts got in the Marshall Faulk trade.
They are burning so much time by huddling up. I'm surprised they don't go to a hurry-up, even if they run it.
Nah, they're okay. They have plenty of timeouts left.
Have to get the first down to keep the drive alive, and Smith does that up to the 44.
Now I would have taken a timeout. I would have used one of my timeouts now.
They're going to go down to the 2-minute warning.
See, I would have used the timeout at 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
Well, they have used an awful lot of time gaining 24 yards on this drive. They still have 56 yards to go to tie this.
But they had 18 seconds.
The crowd doesn't like the decision either. We've reached the 2-minute warning. Colts by 7 over the Dolphins. Jim Mora is 2 minutes away from winning the first playoff game in his career. He is 0-5, 4 as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, 1 with Indianapolis. Dave Wannstedt wants to deny him the pleasure.
And Jay Fiedler's got to get him in and out of the huddle with a little bit more speed than he did over those 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Fiedler to throw underneath Martin. He'll pick up 9 in the Indianapolis territory.
I just don't like when a quarterback always has to look at the sidelines to try and figure out what's going on. There comes a point in the game where you have to take charge of it.
Quarterback keeper. Fiedler still on his feet. Running with a torn rotator cuff in his left shoulder.
You're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Still 3 timeouts.
Still plenty of timeouts, but you're going to have to get into a position where you can make some throws up the field so you can make some throws in the end zone.
I can't believe they're going to a huddle. This is just eating up the clock.
I don't like the way they're managing the end of this football game at all.
Fiedler has this one batted away. The clock will stop at the 1:05 mark. Mark Thomas, the former Chicago Bear, knocked it away.
You know what happens when you let the clock run, like they've let it run down to now 1:05. They let 18 seconds go off, Joe, before the 2-minute warning. You take Lamar Smith out out of the game.
Well, he's out anyway.
Well, wait a minute. But you have 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the game and 3 timeouts. This guy's still a valuable part of the game.
But now
he's not.
In the last 4 minutes, they weren't going to run the football at all, Paul. They were going to put it in the air. But I agree with you. Going back to the huddle, when you have the clock running, just isn't accomplishing what you want and saving time.
Flags are down. There was movement on the Dolphin offense. This will cost them 5.
Prior to the snap, false start, 80, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still remains second down.
That's Tony Martin, the wide receiver. Keep in mind, this drive started at the 20-yard line with 4 minutes and 55 seconds to go on the clock. They have used 3 minutes and 50 seconds just to get to the Colts 41.
They'll have 3 timeouts here. I don't believe you need to try and pick up the first down. You've got to get it to about a 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6, then stop the clock, then pick up the first down and take your shots to the end zone.
2nd and 15. Fiedler with time. Throws complete.
Now use your timeout.
McDuffie at the 22. A gain of 19 yards. The Dolphins call their first timeout. 56 seconds left. In this ball game has played very well in the second half, trying to bring his team back.
But he got some excellent blocking, I'm telling you, in that backfield. Autry Denson looking to the left, 21 on Macklin, number 27. Just an outstanding block.
I think you've entered Oronde Gadsden territory for the Dolphins down here. He's bigger than all the corners that the Colts have.
Gadsden to the near side. Fiedler throws the other way. McDuffie. Oh, McDuffie to the 10.
We talked about in this game both defenses and offenses knowing one another, and it would be up to individuals to make great plays in key moments. Watch this catch. This is something special. Look at that catch. And then he has the presence to turn it upfield.
And what a great throw.
Oh.
McDuffie, 3 catches, 44 yards, all in this half. They have missed him sorely this year. He's missed a lot of action with a bad big toe.
I'm looking for Gadsden down here.
Fiedler knocked down at the line of scrimmage. 45 seconds to go. Bernard Whittington, the guy who got the hand up.
Bernard Whittington is number 95, and, you know, you're trying, you can't get to the passer, get your hand up. Look at Bernard Whittington. He goes up in the air. That ball is awfully low. He really didn't have to jump very far. All he had to do was get his arm up.
A couple of options down here for Chan Gailey. One, spread him out, possibly quarterback draw. Again, you got Lamar Smith. You can now bring Lamar Smith in the game because you've got 2 timeouts.
13th play of the drive. 2nd and goal. Fiedler underneath. There was contact before the ball got there. Hollier appeared to tackle O.J. McDuffie.
No, Hollier's looking around. He's not saying anything. Everybody's looking at it. O.J. McDuffie, number 81, is coming across the field. Hollier is 56. He goes down, and O.J. just trips over top of him. That's okay.
For Hollier, it's great.
No harm, no foul.
3rd and goal. Fiedler to the goal line. Touchdown, Weaver. Jed Weaver with his first catch of the day. He had 5 a week ago, which matched his entire season total of 5. And now Mate to tie it up with 34 seconds left in the game. We're tied at 21.
Jed Weaver with 10 catches coming in. Their tight ends only have 16. What he's going to do is he's going to work and pivot out on Burris and then come back in the middle as the guys clear it out inside. Little pivot route, work him outside, then pivot on back. Good target, nice throw by Jay Fiedler. He just has to get knocked around for about 2 quarters until he gets that shoulder feeling just right, and then he starts to throw the ball very accurately.
He was magnificent on that drive.
Yeah, big plays by O.J. McDuffie, who just now has started to become a part of this offense again.
And now what you have is the Colts going with the win. Only 34 seconds left. They have all of their timeouts. But Vanderjagt, the best kicker in the game, could kick with the win. You talked to him before the game started.
When I talked to him on the field, he said going in this direction, the way the Colts will be going with the ball, Mike said that he felt if he had to, with the wind, he could kick it 60, 65 yards. And this is a strong enough wind, I believe, to carry it.
And you got the Colts, 3 timeouts, and Manning.
And 34 seconds. Coaches don't normally give you 34 seconds in practice to get in the field goal range. They give you 45 or so.
They'll have to do it against a terrific Dolphin defense that has been brilliant all year long.
Michael, listen to this. A number of plays midway through the second quarter. From then on, Miami 50 plays, Indy 22.
They have really come on when they had to. Mata is kicking into the wind. Wilkins at the 3. Buried at the 20. Only 28 seconds left. ABC's presentation of this AFC wildcard playoff from Miami, brought to you by Dodge and nearly 3,000 dealers who invite you to come see what's different. Nortel Networks, we're building the new high-performance internet. And by McDonald's, we love to see you smile. You're watching this game, you're smiling at home.
2 of the leading sackers in the National Football League have not even been mentioned in this ball game today. And they're in the game right now. Trace Armstrong and Jason Taylor. There's Jason Taylor.
James hit by Taylor. He'll get a couple. And it looks like the Colts don't want to mess around deep in their own end. And they're going to play for overtime.
Yep, they figure they get the ball back, get it into a normal game situation. They've been able to score and get opportunities to get Vanderjagt. The key, I think, in overtime will be which way and who has the wind. I think that's going to be a big factor.
And certainly Miami will have the momentum going into overtime. The end of regulation. 17-17, Colts and the Dolphins. The Colts and the Dolphins tied at 17 from Pro Players Stadium in Miami. Dave Wannstedt saw his club come from behind on the arm of Jay Fiedler, who got it done in the last minute. And Jim Morris saw his chances of winning a playoff game at least postponed.
And both coaches said that turnovers would be the big key in this game. We felt that. The Dolphins have overcome those 3 interceptions, and Peyton Manning basically has been silent through most of this football game.
The Dolphins have won the toss. The Colts chose the wind. And Danny Kite will kick to Kevin Williams. He's back there with Autry Denson. That's Denson. The clock shows 15 minutes, but that's just the first quarter of overtime. We will play until we have a winner. A shorter kick this time. Williams.
And a
flag is down, and Williams is down at the 20.
Man, there's a whole lot of flags. Flag day.
And it will be a hold against the Dolphins, so they'll start deep in their own territory. Now, Lamar Smith is back as option number 1 in your offense.
Hello, Lamar. Welcome back to the game. Now he's really gonna...
And he's rested.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was talking about. With the amount of carries he's had.
During the return, 27 receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Arturo Freeman called for the hold, and Smith already has a club record 160-yard rushing.
With the amount of carries that he had, you knew he had to get a little bit winded, so now this has given him an opportunity to get some fresh legs under him. Now you go back and do what you've been able to do. Run the football. The change that has to be made will be by the Colts. I believe that they're going to have to commit more people to the line of scrimmage to try and stop Lamar Smith.
The last time they went 80 yards, only the third time all year they have gone 80 yards for a touchdown. Smith gets only one to the 11. And if you thought turnovers were important during regulation, how about overtime? You make one mistake in overtime, you may be on your way home.
Well, you make one, it's over. Especially if you're the Dolphins backed up this far. You've got to be, Jay Fiedler must do a good job of protecting the football.
Smith, the single setback, 3 wideouts. Fiedler with time, McDuffie. First down at the 25.
Well, what the Colts are doing, they're going with 4 defensive linemen, only 1 linebacker, and that's Mike Peterson, and 6 defensive backs.
Little play action. You know that you got to figure the Colts say Lamar Smith is going to be out there. No. O.J. McDuffie had 5 catches last week, 14 for the year, and now comes up with another big first down catch.
He is so good at finding holes in the zone.
And they've missed him.
Back to the ground game for Smith. Gang tackle as he got to the 29. Let's go to Solomon Wilcott. Solly?
Yeah, Mike, the Indianapolis Colts defense have some players that are beginning to sort of wear down. Defensive tackle Ellis Johnson, he's in the game with a right knee sprain, so he's less than 100%. Jeff Burris, well, he's been fighting the flu bug the entire game. In fact, he had to go into the locker room and get some rest, came out midway in the third quarter, but he's also in the game. Both players are far less than 100%, Mike.
All right, Solomon, thank you. 2nd and 6 out of the eye. Smith on the toss. At the line of scrimmage, it'll be a big 3rd down for Miami. Josh Williams stood his ground in the middle of that line for Indianapolis.
I'm going to tell you what, this has been one great defensive football game.
And I'll tell you, the offenses have been very efficient. Long drives, opportunities. The Colts left the Dolphins in this game early. Had chances to put them away, put 21 points on the board, couldn't get it done.
Fiedler, who made every play on the last drive, has to do it again to keep this one alive. And now the Colts will take a timeout on defense.
Well, they were totally confused on defense because they went 3 wide Miami to the right, and they only had 2 people over there to cover them.
12:22 to go. First period of overtime. When we're done here, coming up next, the Rams and the Saints, the rematch of the NFC wildcard game from New Orleans. We are in overtime in Miami. The Colts and the Dolphins. It was a 14-0 Indianapolis lead. Miami has stormed back. 3rd and 6 for Fiedler.
O.J. McDuffie has been the big guy on 3rd downs for the Dolphins.
4-man rush. Fiedler with plenty of time. Incomplete. McDuffie got his hands on it and couldn't hold it. It would have been a first down.
Well, Jeff Burris, he was right there, number 20. Solomon said he's less than 100%, but you just suck it up and you have to give it your all. Take a look at Jeff Burris. He knows that the ball's going to go to O.J. McDuffie. Look at this play. Watch, back to the outside. This ball it goes off of O.J. McDuffie's hands. He should have caught the ball.
He makes a one-handed catch, which was impossible almost. This one here just slips away.
High snap. Turk got it down, kicking into the wind, and got off a beauty with Ford Wilkins. Fair catch. He let it go. Has to go back and field it on the hop. What a play by Turk.
It's tough sometimes to catch when the wind carries it. Even though it's into the wind, you're not sure what it's doing. Now, I believe it just touches his left hand. He does a very smart thing. Watch that. No, it didn't. It didn't, but he wasn't sure and he wasn't taking a chance, and that's a good decision.
So the Colts backed up to their 18-yard line. Can Manning get anything going offensively? Harrison. Surtain not aware of where the ball was. Harrison was, and he caught it for 30.
You know, I'm going to tell you, this is design play. This is where Manning throws behind the defensive back. Watch Marvin Harrison. Surtain is out there with him. Now watch this ball. It's thrown short. Surtain is looking at Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison is looking at the ball.
You wonder why Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison spend so much time together working on the little things of the game. That's why.
Jim Morris so close to that first playoff win. Blitz coming. Manning with the out, complete to Harrison, taken out of bounds by Surtain in Miami territory at the 46. Vanderjagt, who has kicked 3 today, including a 50-yarder, would have an opportunity with the wind.
You know what's great about this kid as a kicker? His attitude. I mean, really, nothing bothers him. He doesn't, you know, the further away, the better for him. He doesn't care.
You were that way. As a punter, nothing bothered you.
As a punter.
Still doesn't.
As a punter, what was that bother me?
They don't expect him to miss, ever.
Now, normally when Peyton Manning does this much walking behind the line of scrimmage, it's a run.
And it is. Edgerrin James trying for the first down. Still on his feet, fights for the extra yardage and has it.
Boy,
He's
Zach
done
Thomas,
that 4 or 5 times today.
Zach Thomas had a shot at him again and didn't hit him. And Zach Thomas is the one that told us, you have got to wrap this guy up. Because if you don't, he is strong enough, first of all, to stiff arm me, which he doesn't have to do here. So here it comes, 54 is Zach Thomas. Look at this. Bang, he's got the shot. He only gets him at the feet. That's not enough. And he gets the first down.
The other thing he said, he loves playing against the Dolphins because they come so hard, he can let them run by.
Manning again. Altering the play. This one's tipped at the line of scrimmage. And it looked like it was Derek Rogers, the linebacker, who came on the blitz, pulled up, and blocked it.
You know you're not going to get to Peyton Manning. I mean, you just assume that. He's only been sacked 20 times this year. Watch number 59. Rush as far as you can, then get yourself some space away from Ken Dilgert, and then focus on Manning's delivery and try and knock the ball in the air.
2nd and 10. Quarterback draw, and he'll lose a yard. He thought he saw something, but it wasn't there.
Well, if you're going to run a quarterback draw, you have to sell it a few steps. I think he got in a little bit of a hurry this time. And with those 2 big guys in the middle, watch this. He takes 1 step, thinks he has room. He has nowhere to go. Plus Trace Armstrong and Jason Taylor wind up closing the middle.
The other thing, you don't run a quarterback draw if the middle linebacker sitting there in the middle, and that's where Zach Thomas, number 54, was.
And the ends played it so well, Zach never had a chance to get in on it. Manning wants to go to the sideline and talk about it on 3rd and long. If you joined us late, you have missed a beauty. The Colts got some help early from their defense. Chad Cota with the interception. Chad Bratsky with the interception. Cota with his 2nd. Pathan with the touchdown catch from Manning, and then down 14-0 in the 3rd quarter. Miami comes back to cut it in half. Then, with just seconds remaining in the game, Miami ties it.
This brings up an interesting decision for Jim Mora. Because if they only pick up 4 or 5 yards, do you take a chance on a 50, 60-yard field goal, or do you punt it in, put your defense out, and try and let them go 70, 80 yards for a score?
Talking about Vanderjagt now. Kick the field goal. Offside Miami.
Might be a free play for Manning. This is going to be close to first down territory at the 31, about a yard shy. Now we'll check the penalty. It looked like Lorenzo Bromell jumped off sides.
Well, you look at the decision you got to make. You're looking at now about a 49-yard field goal. as opposed to a 60-yard field goal. But you're going to get an extra down if you take the 5-yard penalty, which will only put you inside the 40.
I think you kick it.
Here comes Vanderjagt.
Offside defense, number 91. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
This shows incredible faith in your place kicker.
Well,
it would have been 3rd and 7. Instead, 4th and 1. He will come on to try from 49. He's already hit 3, one of them from 50.
Right, and he hit it right down the middle.
Vanderjagt 4 out of 6 in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime in the regular season. This will be from 49 to win it. No good! Miami is still alive. The kicker who never misses has just missed.
I'm not sure whether this doesn't get blocked at the line of scrimmage, because he would kick it a lot further. Watch this, number 99, Jason Taylor, just to the left part of your screen. He jumps late. I think he just might catch a piece of that and forces the ball out to the right. Jason Taylor with a high surge. Nope, it goes over, and Vanderjagt just missed it right.
Vanderjagt just rushed it.
And now Miami gets the start from its own 39. Fiedler to throw. That one wobbles out of there and almost picked. Jim Bates, the defensive coordinator. Yes, sir.
He's looking at you, Paul.
Watch that. Look at that.
No way. Oh, what a job he's done. Jim Moore says, I still can't get the first one.
And their most reliable weapon
Good
did not
decision.
come through.
Good decision, though.
I thought so, too. Fiedler. Back to Smith on the screen. Great cut by Lamar Smith. Boy, they had him dead to rights in the backfield. He got away from Belser.
And did you see who was out front trying to lead Lamar Smith around the corner? That was Jay Fiedler, number 9.
He's got a lot of guts, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a half an arm. Good job by Belser. He really blows this thing up. But then Smith just doesn't stop. Now watch the right of your screen. Watch number 9 come into the picture. There he is, trying to throw a block.
With his left shoulder.
Trying to miss throwing the block.
Vanderjagt hoping for another opportunity. Will he get it? 3rd and 3 Miami. Fiedler rifles that one first down. And both players still down. Jeff Ogden was drilled.
He got hit right in the middle of the back.
Mustafa Muhammad on the coverage.
Jeff Ogden, number 88, gets himself beyond the first down marker and hooks himself up. But watch Muhammad right here. Bam, right in the back with his helmet. Excellent throw, excellent choice. And a great job holding on to the ball.
Jay Fiedler throwing the ball a lot more accurately here. Here's the pop, right square in the middle of the back.
Boy, and that ball needed to be fired in there, and it was. And you're right, Paul. Great job by Ogden, who makes his first catch of the game to hang on to that. Jay Fiedler in the first half was woeful. 5 out of 14, 3 interceptions. In the second half, he's reminding people of Marino. 13 out of 19. Next on ABC, the NFC Wild Card playoff game. The defending Super Bowl champion St. Louis Rams and their rematch with the New Orleans Saints. Dolphins 1st and 10 from the 48. Olindo Mate, who kicked a 49-yard game winner into the wind last week. Smith. Lamar Smith to the outside. Flag is down. May have been a face mask.
situation where you have a safety, Chad Cota, who's going to come up and play the run because he knows it's a run, and then he sells himself away from the hole. You have got to make sure where the ball carrier is because you're the guy that has to make the tackle.
For 80, offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
What a huge call. Tony Martin called for the hold downfield.
He's on Jeff Burris. Now, he does a nice job of shielding. There it is. See his left hand? That's what the referee sees. That flag comes in from the back judge. That's a good call. He's got him with his left hand. Does a nice job of trying to help out, but won't let Burris go to try and make a play on Smith.
So it backs him up to the 44. Dave Wannstedt just livid Smith this time to the 41. So the penalty marked off from the spot of the foul, and it was 1st and 6.
You don't get that very often.
No, you don't.
Not too many 1st and 6.
Inching ever closer to an opportunity for Olindo Mare.
And Solomon brought up, I think, a very good point. He talked about in the middle of the 4th quarter, the fatigue that was setting in on this Colts defense. We've talked about them not being very big. They, again, have been out there an awful long time.
And now Miami will spend its first timeout in overtime, facing a 2nd and about 3.
You know, you got 2nd and 3, and you're still in the situation where Lamar Smith carries the ball.
Oh, yeah.
For the next 2 times.
And why not? He's got 183 yards rushing today on 36 carries. Let's go to Solomon Wilcott. Solly?
Yeah, Mike. The injury report on wide receiver Jeff Ogden. He had the wind knocked out of him on that hit. He's up and moving around. He's expected to return to the ball game.
Good news for the Dolphins, Solomon, because he made that huge catch that kept his drive going.
Well, they've gotten an awful lot of production out of Jeff Ogden and O.J. McDuffie. I mean, we haven't seen Oronde Gadsden but a couple times early in the game.
Here they come. Colts come on the blitz. Smith crosses the 40, dragging tacklers with him near the 38. That was where he had to get for the first down. Guy runs hard, doesn't he?
He really does. I mean, he's so hard to bring down. When you look at the way he approaches tacklers, gets his shoulders down, he's got those big legs, gets his knees up, and there's very little that you can try and tackle. Built low to the ground.
He shattered Larry Zonka's Dolphin postseason record today.
Look at the average. 5 yards a carry. Did they make it, Paul?
Well, I'll tell you what. The way they mark it,
come on, quick.
No.
Joe, he was waiting as long as he could till those chains were stretched out there.
How good am I? I'm the best there is.
Yes, you are.
Ever.
I'll go on.
No.
So it's 3rd and inches. Vanderjagt beside himself after the miss, even though it was a 49-yarder.
Yeah, but it's uncharacteristic. You know, you make a 50, you got to figure the 40 is something you can knock through.
Mate has missed today. He missed a pair last week, but hit the game winner.
I think with this short of yardage, I'm not a big fan, nor was I when I played, of a quarterback sneak. But I think what you want to try and do is just pick up the necessary yardage with your quarterback.
They did it to Lamar.
Dives was really blasted as he went over the top, but appeared to have more than enough for the first down.
Boy, I'll tell you, he did get it, though. That's the perfect way to do it. That little hesitation, you get the snap. It's not a long time. It's just a little bit of a hesitation to let these guys clear out a little bit. Watch. Boom. Now, up over the top. All that ball has to do is just cross that plane.
Remember, he cannot extend the ball. He's got to get it out there far enough because he's got that pad shoulder.
Boy, did Peterson and Hollier give him a shot.
He's one tough guy.
Yes, he is. Smith. Colts string that one out. And Smith will only get a couple.
You got to be a whole bunch of guys on that Colt defensive line saying, how long do we have to look at this guy,
Well,
Lamar Smith?
Right here and right now, as Vanderjagt continues to ponder over what happened to him.
Vanderjagt, 25 of 27 during the regular season in his career, 86 of 96. He does not qualify for the all-time record because he doesn't have 100 makes. But if he did, he would be well above anybody else in the game. Fiedler, blitz coming. Gadsden. First down and more. Jason Belzer made the tackle, but they're in field goal range now.
What you're seeing is a fabulous job by an offensive coordinator, Chan Gailey. He knows his football team so well. He knows the capabilities of his receivers and his quarterbacks. They try and bring the blitz off the corner, and that forces Belzer to go out and try and make the tackle on Gadsden. Manages to bring him down after he makes the first down. Lamar again, Paul?
Lamar again, Paul. Field goal.
I don't think you try it yet. I just think you keep pounding.
Lamar Smith has now carried the ball more than anyone else in NFL postseason history. 39 carries. He has 192 yards. Vanderjagt so upset after having the chance to win it himself. 2nd and 4. Smith cuts it outside. Lamar Smith. Touchdown. It's over. Day. 40, count them, 40 carries, 209 yards, and the game-winning touchdown in overtime after the Colts missed a 49-yard field goal that would have won it.
We talked about the patience of Edgerrin James running the football. Watch the patience of Lamar Smith as he mounts 209 yards. Look at this. He almost stops completely. He lets the big guy, Tim Ruddy, get outside for him. O.J. McDuffie down the field trying to block. And you talk about a runner that will not be denied. They're locking up on him, and he will not be denied.
Jason Taylor celebrating as the Dolphins' improbable success continues. And Chan Gailey saw his offense come through when it had to. Down 14-0. They stormed from behind, got the tying touchdown in the last minute of regulation. And Jim Mora has yet to win that first postseason game. For a while, it looked like he had it in the bag, and Dave Wannstedt will have his season continue with the Dolphins. They will play the Raiders in the second round of the playoffs. That is a remarkable comeback by the Miami offense.
Well, you got to love the fact that they rode their horse, and Lamar Smith is their horse. They rode him for the entire ball game. They didn't give up on him. They didn't give up on Jay Fiedler. They came back and won the game in overtime. That is remarkable.
What a second half Jay Fiedler played as well. He didn't play. He played horribly in the first half and dug him the hole.
Let's go to Solomon Wilcott. Solly?
Yeah, Mike, you know, the Indianapolis Colts have their trio on offense. Well, the Miami Dolphins had their three offensive weapons working today. And we'll start with you first, Jay Fiedler. 3 interceptions in the first half. What were the thoughts at halftime? Was there any talk about maybe you possibly coming out of the game?
No, there was never any talk about that. We knew we had some plays out there. I made a couple bad decisions early on, but the whole team stuck together, had confidence in me coming back and bringing the team back with this guy and that guy right there. And, the whole team played great defense, stopped them in the second half. Offensive line was going after him. This guy was running, he was catching, we were making plays all over the place.
Lamar Smith, you shatter Larry Zonka's postseason rushing record, 209 games, the winning touchdown in this game. Talk about the patience you guys had to stick with the running game and how important was it?
Well, with our great defense, we knew we could hold them, and all we had to do is just come out in the third quarter with the first possession and score. And our defense is going to hold them and give us another opportunity, and we took advantage of it.
OJ, you had the very important one-hand grab on the drive to help get this team into overtime. There had been some talk about them not coming to you enough. You're happy now?
I'm very happy now. I was happy before, but I knew that I could make some plays, and Coach gave me a chance, and Jay put it where I could get at it, and we went out and everybody made plays to win this game for us.
Well, guys, it was enough to give the pacemaker a serious joke. Congratulations. Let's send it back to you, Mike.
All right, Solomon, and Lamar Smith with a remarkable day. 209 yards rushing on 40 carries, including the game winner in overtime as Miami beats the Colts here in South Florida. Dave Wanstead will get at least one more game in the year. Jim Mora will have to wait. He is 0-6 in the postseason.